Hello, and welcome to the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel and our live stream of the Seattle Kraken against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Before I go anywhere, before I start anything, I want to give a good shout out to Bob Matthews, who just finished his live stream of the Anaheim Ducks and the Washington Capitals, a 4-3 win for the Caps in a shootout, a long shootout at that. Very good game over there in the Washington area. But here we are talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Seattle Kraken, and it's nice to see so many people already chatting it up in the comments. If you are in the comments, make sure you drop a like on this stream and also subscribe to the channel to get watch-alongs like this every single night of the NHL season. Like I mentioned, there's already a bunch of people jumping in the comments. Front Row Predictions was here early. He says, "Let's go Pens." Nick Bonham, let me make sure I get that right, says Kraken all day. So we got fans from both ends of the spectrum here. And then we have Kira, not sure who to root for. Grew up in Pittsburgh, always cheered for the Pens, but loves Seattle and moved to Seattle about 8 years ago, so doesn't know who to root for. I mean, it's a tough thing to do. Maybe you just watch the game and have fun. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch the game. I'm going to have a lot of fun. Kate Berry, she's 3 for 3. 3 for 3. I've done 3 live streams here, and she has been here for every last one of them. So, Kate, welcome back. Jacob Day says, "Hello, go Pittsburgh. Let's go Pens." All righty. And he also throws a score prediction in there. 5-1 Pittsburgh. Kate says 7-0 Pens. Front Row Production says 4-2 Pens. Lots of people believing that the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to win this game. And look at even Kate saying she's going to the game on Tuesday for the Pens. Next Tuesday, who are they playing in that matchup? I know they play the Ducks on Saturday. Is it the Devils? I think it might be the Devils next Tuesday. The 14th. Oh, the Canadiens. Okay, there you go. Against the Canadiens. Jacob Day said, "I've been here for 8 in a row, 8 live streams." That is, you have Kate beat. All right, Jacob. All right. Respect, mad props. Welcome to the live stream. I don't know. Is this the first time that you've watched me on live stream, or have you been here before? I should remember if you have been. If you have, I'm sorry. But if you haven't been to one of my live streams, welcome and thank you for joining. So this game between the Penguins and the Seattle Kraken, a tale as old as today. This is how I'm billing it, because this is the first matchup between these two franchises, obviously, in history. Never seen me. Well, here I am. My name is Nick Berlansky. I host the Tip of the Iceberg podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network, which covers the Pittsburgh Penguins. I also host another podcast on the network called The Hockey Hotbed, which covers every team in the NHL, all 32. So if you are interested in my voice, if you like what you're hearing here, then definitely tune into one of those two podcasts. And if not, that's quite all right, because I'm also going to come on here once a week, hopefully, going forward, doing live streams as well. So here it is, Kraken versus Penguins, getting started here in just about under 10 minutes. It's going to be a good matchup. Of course, the Pittsburgh Penguins come into this 11-8-5. This is game 4 of a 5-game road trip for the Pittsburgh Penguins fans. It's been a long road, all Western Coast games. I don't know why I'm saying Western Coast. West Coast games. I'm from the East Coast, so it's a little bit late. So for all the Penguins fans that are watching this from the Pittsburgh area, I feel you. It is a late night over here. But the Pittsburgh Penguins, 27 points, 11-8-5, sit in 4th place in the Metropolitan Division. They take on the Seattle Kraken at Climate Pledge Arena, currently at 9-13-2, with 20 standings points, sitting in 7th place in the Pacific Division. Jake N. also joining the stream says, "I'm a Wings fan." Ain't no problem with that. You got to love a little bit of Lucas Raymond and Mo Seider. They're having a really good season as of right now. They're higher than the Penguins in the standings. They're sitting in the wild card 1 spot, a good spot for the Detroit Red Wings. Been a while since they've been able to say that, at least this late into the season. So good on them. And also Jacob says he is a Knights fan. Again, no shame in that at all. Obviously not. There's no shame in being a fan of any team in the NHL. Golden Knights. Oh, I'm excited to see Jack Eichel. I'm excited to see Jack Eichel in that golden gray. It's going to look good. Back to this game. We are obviously under 10 minutes away from the start of this matchup between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Seattle Kraken. We got a goaltending matchup here. Casey DeSmith for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Interesting decision. They're right before a 3-day rest where they head back to the East Coast to take on Bob and his Washington Capitals. So interesting enough, they go with Casey DeSmith. He hasn't been able to get his feet underneath him this season, only in 4 games. He's 0-3-1 with a 4.33 goals allowed average, an .867 save percentage. So it's been a while since he's won a game. Even dating back to last season, he lost his last, I believe, 5 outings last year. So we'll see him go for the Pittsburgh Penguins. For the Kraken, I have not been able to find who they have starting. I've been checking their social media all day long. Haven't been able to figure it out here, but we will get that as soon as we can. Seeing who's going to play here. Jake says 7-2 Kraken. All right. That's the first time we've seen somebody say that the Kraken are going to win. He thinks they're going to blow out the Pittsburgh Penguins. And if you heard the stats that I just had on the Penguins starting goaltender, which is Casey DeSmith tonight, you probably would say the same thing. So Jake going 7-2 Penguins. I'll write that down and note that. And if it finishes 7-2, you got to give respect and credit where credit is due. Jake says 7-2. Looking at a player to watch for both sides, because I like to do this whenever I come into any of these games. I like to look at it and say, which player do I think is going to pop off tonight? Which player is primed to pop off tonight? Which players have played the best for either team? If you're looking at the Pittsburgh Penguins side of things, it's pretty obvious. The best player on that team right now is not named Sidney Crosby. It's named Jake Guentzel. Jake Guentzel has 13 goals on the season. He's coming off of a performance on Saturday night against the Vancouver Canucks, where he was able to go out there and score a hat trick all in the second period. And he has not only 13 goals, but he has 24 points and is on a 12-game point streak. So Jake is the player to watch for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, he does play on a line with Sidney Crosby, so as Jake goes, so does Sidney Crosby usually. Like I mentioned, Guentzel had a hat trick on Saturday. Sidney Crosby recorded 1 goal and 2 assists in that game. But on the other side of the spectrum, for the Seattle Kraken, I'm going to highlight their number 1 center. That's usually a fair bet. Usually a fair bet when you're looking at a game that the number 1 center is going to be a difference maker. And for the Seattle Kraken, their number 1 center is Yanni Gourde. Yanni Gourde has 6 goals, 16 points in 20 games played so far on the season. He is the Kraken's number 1 center. He did miss the early portion of the season recovering from an injury. But I mean, the guy was an integral part of the Tampa Bay Lightning's back-to-back Stanley Cup championship team. It is the easiest scouting report I've ever had to do. What player is going to be really important to this game? Yeah, obviously that guy. So we'll keep an eye on Yanni Gourde. We'll keep an eye also on 2 former Pittsburgh Penguins. See how they play in this game. That's Jared McCann and Brandon Tanev. Obviously, we'll get into a discussion here about how Penguins fans feel about losing both Tanev and McCann over the offseason, ending up both in Seattle. But that's going to be something else to watch for. McCann has found a home in Seattle and seems very happy there. He says, didn't seem like the Penguins wanted him, but he's happy to be in Seattle and he's ready to go. Brandon Tanev, there were pictures of him hanging out with the Pittsburgh Penguins all day yesterday. Didn't see that from McCann, so somebody took it a little harder than the other person. Checking back in the comments. Liam. I think he likes the Kraken. Liam likes the Kraken. All those Kraken logos. Jacob says, Sid the Kid. From close to where you live. Jacob, where are you from? I know Sid the Kid is from up there in Nova Scotia. So you're up in Canada as well. Yep, there's Liam saying, let's go Seattle Kraken. Andrew, welcome back, Andrew. I do remember you. Don't worry. I'm doing very good. How are you doing, Andrew? It's nice to see you back in the live stream. Thank you so much for joining us. And Andrew also says Seattle 6-4. So there's a second vote for Seattle. At least scoring update. Obviously, there's been plenty of people that have said that they're rooting for the Seattle Kraken in this game. But that's the second score update for Seattle. Sirener says Pittsburgh go. All right, we got another Pittsburgh fan in the house. Jacob, that's fair. Don't give the address. Don't say where, but Nova Scotia. Good to know. Thank you for joining us from Nova Scotia. I appreciate it. Trying to get the stream up now. Everything's reloading here on ESPN Plus, which is how I'm watching the game. And there we go. Now I have it on. That makes it a little bit easier to do my job. Will I be showing the national anthem, says Enrique. No, I will not be showing the national anthem. Actually, I won't be showing any of the game itself. This is just a watch along. So for what you see is basically what you're going to get for this one. It's going to be a conversation piece. We're going to talk. Anybody that jumps in the comments, we want to have a conversation. That's what this is for. So if you do want to watch the game, and if you're looking for a stream like that, I know NHL 66 is a good source to watch it. Andrew, you're doing good. Good to hear, man. Good to hear. Enrique does say Seattle 5-3 Oaks. So we're about even right now, with people saying the Penguins are going to win with their scoring updates and people saying that the Seattle Kraken are going to win with their scoring updates. So it's good to know. Pamela and Christian asking, no, I will not be streaming the game live. You won't be able to see the actual action on the screen on this stream, but you will see basically what you're seeing now and some great conversation as well. So I hope you stick along. But if you don't, I understand. But like I mentioned earlier, if you weren't here when I said it, NHL 66, I believe it's .ir or something like that. That's a good source to stream the actual game if that's what you're looking for. But thank you for tuning in. Right now, where am I coming from? I am streaming right now in my living room. I'm in my living room in Virginia. That's where I'm coming to you from right now. So I don't have my studios all set up because it's in my bedroom, and I have to be kind to the other people that live in my apartment. And by other people, I mean my fiance. She's going to bed. But back to this game update. Pittsburgh Penguins, Seattle Kraken. We're still not underway yet in this game. Some team stats that I want to run down before this game gets started. Goals per game. Pittsburgh Penguins sit in 20th at 2.83 goals per game. The Seattle Kraken have the advantage there at 3.00 goals per game. They're 15th in the NHL, so the Kraken scoring at a higher clip than the Pittsburgh Penguins coming into tonight. Goals allowed per game, the Penguins have a high advantage on that, however. 2.63 goals per game puts them at 6th in the National Hockey League. The Seattle Kraken are at 3.46, which put them at 28th, so allowing a lot of goals are the Seattle Kraken. Now, again, the Penguins haven't given up a lot of goals. They're 6th in the league, of course, but that has been primarily due to the play of Tristan Jarry, who will not be playing in tonight's game. Casey DeSmith will be there instead. Again, this will be his 5th outing of the season. 4.33 goals allowed for him and an .867 save percentage. So if you're going to bet something, I would say maybe bet the over in tonight's game. I think there's going to be a lot of goals scored at Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. It looks like the intros are getting underway, getting ready to start the national anthems as we are closing into puck drop. I would say probably going to be in another 10 minutes here or so. Going down into the special teams really quickly as we're still previewing this matchup. The Pittsburgh Penguins power play. A little improved since the last time I came to you here on the Hockey Podcast Network live stream. And now they're at 24th in the National Hockey League. The last couple times that I've done a live stream here, the Penguins were 30th and 32nd in the NHL. But now they're at 24th at 15.3%. The Kraken, just a hair better. They're at 20th in the NHL, 17.7%. And there is the starting goaltender for the Kraken, Philip Grubauer, 7-9-2, a 302 goals allowed average, and an 891 save percentage. So it's Grubauer against DeSmith. The game is getting ready to start. Let me write down in my notes that Grubauer is actually starting because for some reason I could not find that anywhere on Seattle Kraken Twitter today. And the last stat that I want to run before puck drop, as we are about 5 seconds away from puck drop, penalty kill, Pittsburgh Penguins first in the National Hockey League against the Seattle Kraken, who are 21st in the National Hockey League. The Penguins running at a 91.8% clip on the PK. So if there is a penalty to be taken for the Penguins, at least they know that they can count on their penalty kill to keep it out of the net. That is it for our pregame show because the game is underway here in Seattle, Washington. Penguins versus the Seattle Kraken for the first time ever between these two franchises. Thank you to everybody that has joined the THPN live stream. My name is Nick Berlansky. I am the host of the Tip of the Iceberg podcast here on the Hockey Podcast Network, covering the Pittsburgh Penguins for the Hockey Podcast Network. I also am the host of the Hockey Hotbed, where I cover every single team in the NHL, including the Seattle Kraken, including the Anaheim Ducks and the Washington Capitals, who were the previous live stream earlier tonight. Shout out to Bob Matthews for doing a tremendous job on that live stream. And this is part 2 of a doubleheader here for the Hockey Podcast Network. So if you like these watch-alongs, make sure that you drop a like on this stream. Make sure you drop a subscribe on the channel, because we have watch-alongs like this every single night of the NHL season. And then some nights, some special nights like tonight, we have 2 streams. So shout out to Bob for getting us started. And hopefully I can bring it home here in the late hours. Penguins, Kraken getting started. Kraken get a really kind of dangerous opportunity throwing it towards the net. It didn't look like DeSmith was ready to look at it. And it just bounces the whole way back out into Kraken territory. Am I watching the game on NHL 66 while you're streaming? No, I'm actually watching the game on ESPN+. Luckily, I live out of market for the Pittsburgh Penguins, so I can catch most of, if not all of, the Pittsburgh Penguins games on ESPN+. A great opportunity there for Jason Zucker, but he slap shots it right into the defenseman's shin pads. But the Penguins forecheck early on looking pretty good. A nice pass there, an opportunity, and they score! 2 minutes into the game, it looks like Big Jeff Carter is going to put in the first goal of tonight's game. I didn't even get a chance to ask everybody in the comments who they thought was going to score first. But it looks like Big Jeff Carter's. He sent it towards the net, and it was deflected past Philip Grubauer. We mentioned literally, 5 minutes ago that it was going to be a high-scoring game, and 2 minutes in, we already have one. Yep, Jeff Carter tries to get a center ice pass, and it goes off of Grubauer's stick and up into the netting, and it is 1-0 Pittsburgh Penguins. Which comment, Andrew? Is this the one you were talking about? Miss you so much since the last stream. I didn't know if you were talking to me or if you were talking to Danelle. I didn't know if you guys were both together during the live stream of the Washington Capitals versus Anaheim Ducks game. But if that was towards me, thank you very much. I'm sorry for skipping your comment. Jacob Day says, watch it be a 1-0 game. You know, it wouldn't be the first time that I've cursed a game that I'm covering. The first time I did one of these was Penguins versus Florida Panthers. I said, if this ends in a shootout, the Penguins will certainly lose. Well, it ended in a shootout and the Penguins won. So usually, if you're going for something, you should usually fade whatever I say. Go against anything I say, and it's usually going to be right. Oh, Andrew says just me. Well, thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it. Glad to have you back here. I missed you as well. And hopefully I'll be doing these with a little bit more consistency going forward. I'm starting to even out my schedule. So hopefully I can do a little bit more of these. And, you know, who knows? Maybe in the near future or distant future or at some point this season, maybe I'll do a doubleheader just me. I don't know if people will be tired of me doing that, but we might try it sometime down the future. But tonight, just Penguins versus Kraken. Right now, the Pittsburgh Penguins with a 1-0 lead. I didn't even get to go to the last 5 here. So let me bring up the statistics so you can look at the live stats as they happen. There it is right now, 3 minutes into the game, 1-0 Penguins. Shots on goal even at 1 as well. Danelle asks, and this is a good question because a lot of people have varying opinions. How do I like ESPN? A lot of people don't like it to pay for streaming service. ESPN cares more about the NFL, NBA. ESPN doesn't care about hockey. Well, I mean, Jacob says it has more NHL content than NBA and NFL. ESPN Plus definitely does. ESPN for the longest time did put the NHL on the back burner. I feel like a large reason and large portion for that is because they didn't have the rights. So they put it on the back burner and it didn't bring in money for them. But since they invested the money and got all the rights this season, this is obviously the first year, I've enjoyed their coverage. I know there's issues with blackouts, which I haven't had to experience because I live out of market from the team that I usually like to follow and the team that I cover. So it hasn't been an issue for me, but I know the blackouts are a big issue for a lot of people that can't watch the games on ESPN Plus in their own market. But I've enjoyed it. I think there's some things that could be fixed. I think, the interface of the app is rough. And look at that. I say that, and Andrew says the exact same thing. But no, the ESPN Plus, to me, I've liked it just because as somebody who tries to cover the entirety of the NHL, it makes it a little bit easier access for me to be able to catch the games. That's why. It is streaming on the homepage. Christian. But for me, who doesn't have a television subscription, I can't watch it. I can only do whatever is on ESPN Plus. It'll say to put in a television subscription, and I don't have one of those, so I can't watch that. I don't disagree with you, Donnell. I don't. I think they, honestly, they paid all this money. I do like what they're doing within the crease. I do like what they're doing with The Point, the show with John Buccigross. I think there's more to it that they need to get to, but we'll have to see what happens as the season progresses, because they did just get the rights back. So we'll see what happens as time progresses. You hope, obviously, that it gets better and better every single day, every single week, every single season. So Hikaru's here. Welcome, Hikaru, one of our most loyal listeners of the Tip of the Iceberg podcast. Says, I live in a place where not only is my team blacked out, but so are both of their bigger rivals. So you must live like right in the smack dab middle of like Pennsylvania, where they blacked out the Penguins, they blacked out the Flyers and the Capitals. If I'm wrong, let me know, but that's where I think you're going with that. So we're about 5 minutes into the game here. Penguins take the early lead on a Jeff Carter goal. He just tried to, honestly, set a cross-crease pass, and it bounced off of Grubauer sticking up over his shoulder there. Great opportunity, passed, and scores. The Penguins out to a hot start here. That's going to be Captain Sidney Crosby who's going to get the goal. And I don't know, because the shot went on. They might give the assist there to Jake Gensel, who could extend his point streak to 13 if they credit him with the assist on that one. A nice play set up right off the faceoff, and that's something that the Pittsburgh Penguins do pretty well, is they have set faceoff plays, and a lot of the times you see it working, and most of the time when it does, it seems like Sidney Crosby is always on the ice. So Sidney Crosby, the captain, gets the goal to make it 2-0 Penguins less than 5 minutes into this game. Jacob asks, a resident Vegas fan, if you haven't been part of the stream already. Jacob asks, Vegas versus the Stars on Wednesday. Who do I have winning? The Dallas Stars have been, I got to give credit where credit is due. The Dallas Stars have been really good the last 2 weeks. Specifically, my guy, Rupe Hintz. He's also been just absolutely dominant the past 2 weeks. But I feel like Vegas is coming on. Early season slump. Dealt with all the injuries. Now they get White Cloud back. They get Pacioretty back. They get Stone back. You see them starting to win games. I would have to lean Vegas. If I'm betting that game, I'm leaning Vegas in that one. The Hockey Hack. Richard Blosser joins the stream. Richard, how's it going, buddy? Obviously, Richard on the network as well. And there's another goal. Wow. Well, it didn't end 1-0. Definitely didn't end 1-0, that's for sure. That makes it 3-0 in favor of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And we mentioned that goals allowed per game. The Seattle Kraken had 3.46 goals allowed per game coming into this one. 28th in the NHL. They've already given up 3 here in the first 5 minutes. That one is a Danton Heinen shot that gets deflected up high, and Grubauer just cannot read it. Marino dished it off to Heinen, who got into the slot, and I believe he shot that off of number 15 for the Seattle Kraken, and that's already going to do it. Joey Daccord is going to be in the game for Seattle Kraken, so I spent all that time wondering who was going to start for the Seattle Kraken. Finally get the answer. It's Philip Grubauer, and now just over 5 minutes in, we have Joey Daccord. So the Penguins chase Grubauer in the first 5 minutes of the game and take a 3-0 lead early against the Seattle Kraken. We'll see how this one plays out, but it's starting off really well for the Pittsburgh Penguins, who are in game 4 of 5 of a 5-game road trip. Jacob says he's going 3-2 in favor of Vegas. That sounds like a fair scoring game. Now, both teams are pretty good defensively. Historically, at least. I mean, Dallas likes to play that game. Vegas, they rely a lot on Robin Leonard, but their defense is starting to come around. I think they had a really rough start to the season. I mean, it's hard when you're missing that many players already, but definitely gonna be a good matchup on Wednesday. I'll probably have to tune into that one. Now, Danelle also says, what are my thoughts on the Stadium Series jerseys for the Predators and Lightning? They are both average jerseys, but the Lightning one is okay, but the Predators one is ugly, but like the colors. I think it's about time that the Predators did go with a predominantly, I believe it's predominantly blue. It burned my eyes when I first saw it, to be completely honest. I thought it was really bad. It looked like a fan concept drawing gone wrong. Like, it looked like somebody was like, let me try to make the worst looking jersey in the history of the NHL. And the Predators just said, let's just go with it. Let's go with it. See if people buy it. So yeah, no, I don't like the Predators one. The Bolts one is okay. It's different. I'm not gonna knock them for trying because it doesn't look awful, especially when you put it head to head with the Nashville one. The Smashville Stadium Series jersey, just really poorly done. Really poorly done. Hikaru says the Preds need to bring back their original jerseys with the rectangular numbers. That wouldn't be a bad look. In the age where everybody's doing reverse retros and bringing back old looks, the Penguins are bringing back the old Snoop Dogg Gin and Juice jerseys. They're going to wear those on Saturday against the Anaheim Ducks. A nice opportunity there. It looks like the Penguins just breaking in Joey Daccord right off the bat. But this one is saved by Daccord, and they're going to cut the commercial break here. 3-0 Pittsburgh Penguins with 13:05 remaining in the first period. A good start with Carter, Crosby, and Danton Heinen all getting in on the scoring action. But Andrew says the Winter Classic jerseys, well done. I feel like I haven't seen the Winter Classic jerseys. I don't remember. I'd have to be shown them or look them up again really quickly. Everybody loves the Preds reverse retro and should be their home jersey. I thought the Preds reverse retro was okay. I don't know. The Preds have a weird kit system. And if you were here for the last one, I forgot until just now that I'm going to start trying to call them kits like they do in soccer. But Hikaru says it's a shame that the Robo Pigeon isn't on the new diagonals, though. I agree. I definitely agree. I think that would have been a better look. It would have been nicer, but you can only do what you can do. Hockey Hack Richard says he loves those pit thirds. One step closer to the Rover Pens. They're running out of options when they're going to throwbacks. They're literally running out of options. You go back into the early 2000s, they did the light blue. They did the dark blue. They did last year the white Pittsburgh diagonal. Now they're doing the dark Pittsburgh diagonal. So they're running out of options. We'll see what happens there. So let's see what else. Yeah, Danelle asked, did I like the Penguins' third jerseys? It's the same as the reverse retro in white, but in black. I do like the Penguins' third jerseys. This is the last time they wore those was in 1992. Obviously, a good year for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sidney Crosby, not Sidney Crosby. My brain just shut off for a second. Mario Lemieux, the other captain. Jaromir Jagr, Ron Francis, and that's actually a good point to bring up because we're 30 minutes into this live stream now, and I meant to bring this up literally from the top. So if you're still watching, my Aunt Debbie is one of my biggest fans, listens to everything I do, stays up and watches these live streams. She's been looking forward to this matchup, Pens versus Kraken, all season long because her favorite Pittsburgh Penguin of all time was the franchise, Ronnie Francis, who is now the general manager of the Seattle Kraken. Right now, the Penguins are not treating their former player too well as they're up 3-0 here early on against the Seattle Kraken. The Kraken only one shot on goal. You got to test Casey DeSmith a little bit more. This is a guy that hasn't won a game dating back to last season, I believe in 8 or 9 outings. You have to test him more. Only one shot on goal in the first 7 minutes of the game. That's not going to get it done. Especially now that you're down 3, just start throwing it on net. This guy, he's been struggling. If you let him get going and if you give him a little bit of confidence, as with any goalie, starts to get confidence, it's going to be harder and harder to beat him, especially when you're already down by multiple goals early in this game. Eldhoz Mathai. If I'm saying that wrong, I really apologize. But you're a new hockey fan, and so far so good. Well, welcome to the Hockey Podcast Network live stream here on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. My name's Nick. It's nice to meet you. I hope I said your name correctly. But hockey's a great sport. You want to get into it. Do you have a favorite team yet? Or right now, are you just weighing your options, watching hockey, trying to get into the sport itself? I'd be interested to know the answer to that. If you're into one of these two teams, let me know. Do you think the Seattle Kraken can come back tonight? So that's the big question. And actually, everybody that's watching, do you think the Seattle Kraken are going to be able to come back from this deficit? I mean, it's 3-0. We're not even 10 minutes into the game here. The hockey hack. That's right. Recovering from COVID. I do remember that. Hope you're feeling all right, buddy. Hope you're feeling all right. Me and Richard actually did an episode together last week for the Grit and Barrett podcast, which he does here for the Hockey Podcast Network. He covers the Hershey Bears of the AHL, and we did a NHL quarter poll for the 1 quarter part of the season. We talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the NHL 25% of the way through. So go check that out if you're interested in hearing that. Danelle says, what are my thoughts on the Canucks and Flyers firing coaches and GMs? Well, interestingly enough, my podcast that comes out tomorrow, The Hockey Hotbed, in that episode, I lead off the show talking about both of those, but I'm not going to be the type of person that's just like, hey, go check those out. I'm not going to answer it. I think it's about damn time in Vancouver. It's about time. This has been something that has needed to happen for a long time, especially with Jim Benning. So good for them. The Canucks fans are freed. I've already seen people say that they might be thinking of Bergevin, in which case I'll pray for them Canucks fans. It's not going to be pretty if that's what happens. The Flyers firing Vigneault, firing Michel Therrien as assistant coach. You had to imagine he was on the hot seat. I mean, last year was so disappointing for them to miss the playoffs after a successful appearance in the bubble. And then this year, the way they've started has just been awful. I mean, 8 straight losses. I know the last time I checked, they were losing today to the Colorado Avalanche, so that would have made 9 straight losses. They're underperforming. So I'm not surprised. And honestly, I'm happy for Canucks fans because it's been a long road to get to this point where they finally fired both Travis Green and Jim Benning. You're a Leafs fan. Okay. All right. Hey, that's great. I mean, the Leafs have been really fun to watch this year. They really have been. They've been a really good team. And now the question is obviously always going to be, and you said you're a new hockey fan. So you're a new hockey fan and you're a Leafs fan. That is brave. That is brave because they're a great regular season team. If they do it in the playoffs, I think we need to circle back to this conversation. This is why, if they succeed in the playoffs, this is why right here. Eldhos. Again, I'm sure I'm butchering that. I'm sorry. But if they win in the postseason, I'm giving you credit. So just be ready for that if they start winning games. Tyler says the Penguins are the best. As somebody who grew up in Western Pennsylvania, I have a hard time disagreeing with that. But as somebody who covers the entire National Hockey League, I will plead the fifth on that one. Danelle says, hate the Pens, go Kraken. That's fair. That's fair. I think we're at about a 50-50 split right now with our viewers about who likes the Kraken and who likes the Penguins in this matchup. Right now, the Penguins 3-0 lead with 8:30 to go in the first period here. Jacob says no. That's fair. He respects all the teams. I believe every team is great in their own way. See this is somebody I can get behind right here, folks. This is how I feel until obviously the playoffs, and then a little bit of the fandom kind of squeaks out. You'll see that if we do playoff live streams, which who am I kidding? We're doing playoff live streams, everybody. You'll see that go out, definitely. Andrew, always on it for me. He says they lost tonight 7-4. So that's 9 straight losses for the Philadelphia Flyers. Not only is that 9 straight losses, but I don't know why they had German Shepherds out on the ice at Wells Fargo Center, but they took a crap right on the center ice logo. So that's just all sorts of bad things happening in Philadelphia if you're a Flyers fan. Andrew says Crosby is his idol. That's a good idol to choose. Great idol to choose. I mean, the guy, as much as we know, I mean, we have literally probably 5% of the knowledge of what he's like off the ice at this point. If he writes like a tell-all or something where we get, I mean, even the Spit and Chicklets interview was only like 5% insight into what Sidney Crosby is like. You know, it seems like he's a good guy to look up to. So Danelle asking, who is the worst sports fans, Boston or Philly? I think fans from both cities are terrible. Philly fans, listen, it's passion. I understand it. I'm going to go with Philly in this one. Not because Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, they're scumbags, because they're not. They're just very passionate, and they're what's the word I'm looking for? They have a lot of vitriol towards their teams. I mean, they're not easy to please. That is 100% sure. They're not an easy fan base to please, and they haven't had much to cheer about. I mean, the Phillies won a couple World Series in the 2009. I think actually they won one. You have that Eagles Super Bowl, and then if you're a Flyers fan, I don't know. They beat the Penguins in like 2012 in a playoff series. I think that's what they hang their hat on at this point, because it's been since 1975 since they've won. That's been rough, but definitely. FR33, is this just a talk or is the game actually being streamed? I will not actually stream the game. I don't have the licensing. If I did, I'd have it in the corner. But unfortunately, I don't have the licensing permit. So this is not going to be streamed here. So if that's what you're here for, I'll let you know. That's not what we're going to have. This is going to be talk, conversation, while we all watch the game together. Basically, as we're sitting together in a living room and probably talking a little bit more than we usually would. But that's what it's going to be. So if you're looking for the live stream, though, NHL 66 is what I always point people to. So look that up online and you might be able to find a stream there. Did I like the Lake Tahoe game, Andrew asks? Yes. I thought that was really cool. I thought the logistics were messed up a little bit, but it's the NHL. They always mess up the logistics. You expected that, but the views were amazing. The games were entertaining as well. So I enjoyed that. I thought that was interesting and a fun way for them to try to generate some revenue in a year where they were not going to. Matt Avocado. All right, Matt Avocado. Welcome to this live stream. I saw you were in Bob Matthews' live stream just about an hour ago. At least that's when I last saw your comment. Watching him watch along to the Capitals-Ducks game. So welcome to this one. Cali native here, Ducks fan. Don't know how hockey is played as a player. You can tell the only thing I can't read. Ducks fans don't know how hockey is played as a player. You can tell they only see the fighting in the sport as the entertainment. Well, I don't know if I'd go with all. I don't know if I would go with all, but you never know. Realistically, I have not met very many Ducks fans. I was supposed to actually cover the Anaheim Ducks for the network, and then they gave me the Penguins one instead. Initially, that was 3 years ago, though. So I don't know why I keep bringing it. I literally bring it up on each one, but not a fan of Ducks fans. Okay, that's fine, Matt. That's fine. We gotta get some rivalries where rivalries are good. I mean, both the Ducks and the Caps going into tonight. I mean, they're both playing really well. To me, they've both exceeded my expectations coming into the season, and that was a really good game tonight. So it was fun to watch. Did I watch the Leafs game last night? I didn't watch it last night. I did watch the third period of it today, back on ESPN Plus. I mean, that's how I do my research. I went back and watched it. So it was interesting for sure. A lot of hatred there. I mean, it's been a while since realistically anybody has been a rival of the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, people say they are, but they don't really have a true Canadian rival. Everybody in the East fights everybody in the East. Everybody in the West fights everybody in the West, and the Winnipeg Jets are just sitting in the middle. So it takes a little bit. I mean, we saw it last year with the Canadiens because of what Mark Scheifele was able to do. Not able to do, what he just absolutely blatantly did. But yeah, not very often do you see big rivalries involving the Winnipeg Jets. So maybe one's brewing there between Winnipeg and Toronto. Last night was certainly a crazy outing for sure. Which team do I like the most? Growing up in Western Pennsylvania, great opportunity here. I haven't really even been talking about the game. I've been watching it, but I haven't been talking about it. We have such great conversation going on in the comments, and I want to talk to each and every one of you. So that's where my focus is right now. But 5:15 remaining in the first, 3-0 in favor of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they're going to commercial break. That figures. As soon as I put my focus back on the game, they go to commercial break. But no, which team do I like the most? My flag stands with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I have a Seattle Kraken hat on mainly because, I mean, the logo, the jersey, everything they have done marketing-wise is fantastic. So that's why I have the hat on. But I do follow the Pittsburgh Penguins the most. Donnell. Oh, sorry. It says, diehard New York sports fan. I will get to Matt's comment in a second. Donnell was first. A diehard New York sports fan of the tri-state area of New York and New Jersey. The Rangers have been playing well. Meanwhile, the Islanders and Devils have not been playing well. Yeah, no, the Devils, at least they can hang their hat on the fact that they signed their star player for 8 years. He's locked in. He wants to be there. He's Jack Hughes. I mean, he's a guy that has great charisma. I don't know if I would give $64 million to a guy that's only scored 21 career goals, but to each their own, especially. And then the Islanders have lost 12 straight games. It's just, I don't know what's going on. The last couple of games, every time they lose, they interview Barry Trotz, and he's like, we're playing better. I mean, I don't know what else to say. We're starting to play better. But the Rangers have been really good this year. Matt, like I said, getting back to your thing. You're a Ducks fan. You'll admit it's growing. Hockey in California is becoming a strong place. That's what the NHL wants. They want hockey in California. They want hockey in Arizona. They want hockey. You know, if they didn't want hockey out there in the Southwest, they would not have put a team in Vegas. They would not have. But no, it is growing. It's been hard because besides the San Jose Sharks going to the finals in 2016, the last 3 or 4 years, all three of those teams have been rough. So as far as California hockey, you haven't really had much to go on. You haven't really had much success to go on. It's all been the hope of, we're not good now, but we're getting better. And if you look at the Ducks last year, they were one of the lowest scoring teams. Now this year you have Troy Terry popping off. Trevor Zegras is coming into his own. Jamie Drysdale. I mean, as far as young defensemen go, we always have to remember, like, defensemen usually come into their own at the age of 24 or 25, but we're watching guys like, Adam Fox, Jamie Drysdale, and Mo Sider be able to do it at such a young age. It's incredible the way the sport is going in that. And you have a front row seat to watch Drysdale do it. So I'm sure it is coming a long way. I haven't been out there to see a hockey game. I've only been to 2 arenas. I need to expand that, though. I need to expand it. Andrew says, fight with Montreal and Boston. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. that is very fair. Let's see. Let's go. Pens 87 says, can I watch the game? I am watching the game right behind. If that's that, are you asking me to watch the game and comment on it? If you are, I will do that a little bit more going forward because I haven't done much. How is Grubauer doing? Matt asks. Grubauer got pulled 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, about 6 minutes into the game after giving up 3 goals. So he is, I think he's doing well on the bench. I don't know. He's filling up Gatorade bottles and he's on duty, opening up the gate for the defenseman at this point. So, Donnell says he wants the Coyotes to stay in Arizona, get the new arena in Tempe. They do get a lot of hate. The Coyotes do get a lot of hate. So I do hope that they succeed there too. I think Gary Bettman's committed to that. But let's get back to this game here. I'm going to stay out of the comments for a little bit, probably for the rest of this period here, with 4:25 remaining in this one. As of right now, the Penguins still lead 3-0 after that quick outburst of goals in the first 6 minutes. They drove Philip Grubauer out of the game, but currently lead in shots 8-6. Shooting percentage, obviously, the Penguins at 37.5. Block shots 3-2 in favor of the Pengs. And let's go down. No penalties yet in this game. Hits 10-5 in favor of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Face-offs 7-6 in favor of the Penguins. And giveaways 6-0 in favor of the Kraken. So the only thing the Kraken are leading in is giveaways, which is definitely not what you want. Not the best. But right now we have, looks like Kasperi Kapanen coming down the near board, gives it off to Brock McGinn. Brock McGinn sends it across, nothing doing there. And out comes Yanni Gourde. He passes it over to, I believe, Jordan Eberle. And Eberle comes into the zone. It's going to be a 3-on-3, cuts in the middle, shoots it on net, and that one is easily dispatched by Casey DeSmith. The turnover there, trying to get out of the zone for the Pittsburgh Penguins. That was McGinn who turned it over. And that's an opportunity in the slot. They're just not able to pull the trigger. That was Jordan Eberle, who has notoriously been a Pittsburgh Penguins killer, especially when he played for the New York Islanders, but there just was not able to pull the trigger. Penguins having trouble still getting the puck out of their zone. That's Mike Matheson right now with the puck behind the net. And he's going to shoot it into the skates of his D partner. That goes down, and that's deflected. So the Penguins get it out of the zone and are going to have the opportunity to change here with 3 minutes remaining in the first period. So what we've seen so far, obviously, early on, the Penguins were on Philip Grubauer and were putting a lot of shots on net. And luckily for them, they've been able to get the bounces. First goal goes in off of Grubauer's stick and just deflects over his shoulder. Second goal, shot is on net by Gensel. It's deflected around a little bit, comes to Sidney Crosby with a wide open net, one of the easiest goals he's ever had to score. That's a huge hit there by Big Rig Jamie Oleksiak on Jason Zucker. 2 guys flying and running into each other. And now here comes Jared McCann against his former team. He's going to dish it across. A great opportunity, and no, it just wouldn't go. Brandon Tanev against his former team just wasn't able to pull the trigger, sitting there in front of the net. but he just wasn't able to do it. The Penguins defenseman was there to tie up his stick, and it remains 3-0 here with 2 minutes to go in the first period. This is a huge game for Jared McCann. I mean, when asked about it, he plain out said, he said, I mean, they didn't want me anymore. They were basically he basically said they gave up on me, the Pittsburgh Penguins, who traded him to Toronto only for him to be selected by the Kraken from Toronto. And he's happy where he's at, and he's succeeding right now in Seattle, but it seems like there are a little bit of hard feelings there between, I mean, he said there weren't, but the way that he came about saying, they didn't want me, seems like there are either a little bit of hard feelings or he's just using that as a motivator. Athletes do that all the time. They take situations, they use it as motivation, and usually turn it into success, and that's what he's been able to do. Brandon Tanev, on the other hand, he was hanging out with the Penguins apparently all day yesterday, so he doesn't have hard feelings. He's still really close friends. We know him and Kasperi Kapanen hit it off last season for sure. Although, even though the Penguins have a 3-0 lead, seems like the last 5 minutes here have been able to, the Kraken have been able to keep it in the Penguin zone. Just not able to get many grade A chances against Casey DeSmith. At least they haven't been able to get them on net. They've had a couple opportunities in the last couple of minutes with an open net or with an open chance, and the Penguins have just been able to tie up their sticks and not give up an open look. Teddy Bluger in a puck race. He's going to win the puck race, but he gets crushed in the corner, and that's going to turn the puck over, and the Kraken are going to be able to make a breakout here in the last minute. But Teddy Bluger just got absolutely laid out in the offensive zone. Clean hit, obviously, all the way. Penguins trying to make a breakout here. That's Danton Heinen going to take it. He looks to send it deep into the zone, but he turns it over at the blue line. Eberle's going to take it. He has about 20 seconds left. Are the Kraken going to try to get one last chance here, get a goal late, try to get some momentum going before the intermission? They pass it up. That's going to be taken by Chris Letang, and he looks like he's going to eat it, but instead he sends it off the far boards. And a turnover, an opportunity here for the Kraken. They get a shot off. It misses the net, and time expires. So the Kraken do end up getting one last opportunity, but they're just not able to get it on net. And the end of the first period, the Pittsburgh Penguins lead the Seattle Kraken by a score of 3-0. All three goals, of course, coming against Philip Grubauer before he is chased in favor of Joey Daccord. The Pittsburgh Penguins, I mean, you look at their road trip up to this point, they're 1-1-1. So for it to be a successful road trip, if they come out, they've already came out hot in this game. But if they're able to win this game, they go to 2-1-1. You've sat there, you've got 5 out of a potential 8 points, and then you have 3 days off before you take on the Washington Capitals. You win that game, and all of a sudden, a road trip that started off horrendously with one of the worst performances I think I've ever seen by a Pittsburgh Penguins team against the Calgary Flames last week, and then just getting completely bodied by Connor McDavid last Wednesday. They are able to turn that into a winning road trip. That'll be something that is really good for this Pittsburgh Penguins team's morale, and it'll be really good for them heading in through the rest of the month of December. Hikaru K says, DeSmith's positioning is still giving me a coronary. Yeah, it seems like he's a little all over the place, and I think part of that is the fact that he has not been good this year. He's had a rough go of things. Hopefully, he's able to settle down. If you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, you want to see him settle down here going into the second period after putting up a 0, because let's not discount how important it is for him to put up that 0 in the first period, to have a 3-goal lead, knowing his team has his back there. It's going to be important for him to settle down, and you might see his positioning get better, but part of that is his confidence right now. And coming into this game, he had to have absolutely, obviously you're an NHL player. You would imagine that your confidence level, you're able to keep it up. But if you see his positioning, you see the way he plays the puck, you see his rebound control, that's all because of, at this point, his confidence, because he has not been a goaltender that has been successful this season. And that's difficult. But if you look back to whenever he was successful, his positioning was better. And that was actually one of the better things, because he is a smaller goaltender. His positioning has to be on point. So whenever he was having success early last season, whenever some people were saying maybe he should start over Jari as the number 1, the one thing that everybody could talk about was his positioning. But right now, I agree with you, Hikaru. It's not good. It's a Not great, Bob. It's kind of scary, actually. Kate jumping back in here says, how about that period? Let's go Pens. Yeah, that's a good period for the Pittsburgh Penguins. 3 goals early on against the Seattle Kraken, able to chase Philip Grubauer. But, I mean, the Seattle Kraken were able to kind of settle in late in that period, get a little bit of momentum going, get a couple opportunities against Casey DeSmith, but they just weren't able to pull the trigger on a couple of them that would have made DeSmith's life a little bit harder. So I'm going to cut to a commercial break, but before that, let's go down through the stats from the first period. Shots on goal, the Seattle Kraken at the end of it kind of came out on top with a good little run there in the last 5 minutes of play. They lead 10-8 in shots on goal. Block shots, the Penguins lead it 3-2. No penalties at all in that first period. Hits 10-9 in favor of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Faceoffs 7-6 in favor of the Penguins. And giveaways still at 6-0 in favor of the Seattle Kraken. Not a good look if you're the Kraken, not what you want. But we're going to take a quick break here on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. When we return, we'll talk about the first period of play, and we'll get to some more of your comments here in the YouTube comment section. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel live stream watch along of the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Seattle Kraken. We are in the first intermission of this game between the Penguins and the Kraken. The Penguins currently lead by a score of 3-0. They jumped out to an early lead, 1:47 into the game. Jeff Carter getting his 6th goal of the season. Assists go to Jason Zucker and Danton Heinen. Then just about 3 minutes later, the captain, Sidney Crosby, nets his 4th goal of the season, assisted to Jake Gensel and Brian Dumoulin. And with that assist, Jake Gensel extends his point streak, right now currently the longest active point streak in the National Hockey League, to 13 games with his 12th assist and 25th point of the season. Then just about 30 seconds after that, Danton Heinen notches his 7th goal of the season. Assists go to Marcus Pettersson and John Marino. So the Pittsburgh Penguins, 3 goals, 9 different players factoring in on each of those goals. And the Penguins have a lead of 3-0 in the first intermission here in Seattle, Washington at the Climate Pledge Arena. The first matchup of its kind, Pittsburgh Penguins versus the Seattle Kraken. So far in this game, obviously the Penguins got off to an early start. That's what you look at. That's what you look at, definitely. Andrew is having decaf coffee at this time of night. I don't know. I feel like you need a little bit more than decaf. I don't drink coffee, so I'm just going with the trusty water bottle here. But going with decaf coffee, that's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off. We'll come back to you in the third period, see how you're feeling. But the Pittsburgh Penguins right now, as it is getting later and later in the evening, the Pittsburgh Penguins right now have a 3-0 lead in the first intermission of this game. So, to all the Penguins fans in the comments, I do have a question for you that I want to start a discussion about. When it comes to the regime of Ron Hextall and Brian Burke, which is just under a year long, they've been at the helm. It's hard to imagine that they haven't been at the helm for a full year at this point. I think the most criticized moves that they have made is by trading Jared McCann and not protecting Brandon Tanev. Definitely the decision to not protect Tanev and also the decision to allow McCann to basically walk. A lot of fans were not happy about it at the time. A lot of fans are still not happy about it, especially seeing how both McCann and Tanev have performed for the Seattle Kraken here. But what do you guys think? What do you all think here in the comments of the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel? Are you still upset about the Tanev and McCann situation for the Pittsburgh Penguins? Do you still think that they should have done better to keep it? Who would you have rather seen go to Seattle in the expansion draft? Obviously, this is revisionist history, and hindsight's always 2020. But as of right now, what do you think? What do you think is going on? How do you feel about losing both of these guys now that you're also watching them play against the Pittsburgh Penguins live and in action here in December of the 2021-22 season? So let me know how you feel there. My comments on it, I mean, business is difficult. The business of the NHL is very difficult. The Pittsburgh Penguins were going to lose a good player. There's no way unless they were going to give up a draft pick, which Ron Hextall has already mentioned the fact that, listen, we've given up enough draft picks during the Rutherford era. He can't give up another draft pick. So you knew they weren't going to pay to get Jason Zucker's contract out. You knew they weren't going to pay to get Mike Matheson's contract out. So it was going to be guys like a Brandon Tanev was going to go. It was going to be a guy like Jared McCann that was going to go. And luckily to me, I think that you're able to get a couple picks out of McCann, and you end up losing both of them. You look at Jared McCann right now in the season, he has 10 goals for the Seattle Kraken. 10 goals, 5 assists for 15 points. He's a trigger man there. And that's what he was for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but he was a lot lower in the lineup. So that's, in my opinion, that's why his numbers are so elevated, because he is getting more of an opportunity. We saw it with the Vegas Golden Knights, players that were given higher opportunities, like William Karlsson, like Jonathan Marchessault, were able to go out there and were able to elevate their numbers in their first year with that team. On the other hand, Brandon Tanev, 8 goals, 5 assists. That, I mean, he's still playing on the third line there, playing the penalty kill. That's just Brandon Tanev becoming a folk hero. We saw it in Pittsburgh. We enjoyed it in Pittsburgh. And now Seattle is going to getting the opportunity to enjoy it. Hikaru's opinion says McCann was gone no matter what. So I don't know what else they could have done. Yeah, that's fair. If you don't trade McCann to the Toronto Maple Leafs, you're probably still not going to protect him in the expansion draft. And you're going to lose him to the Seattle Kraken. That's who they were going to go after. So he was probably gone nonetheless. Now, if you would still have Tanev, it'd be nice. Obviously, everybody loves his personality. He's a cult hero in both Pittsburgh and in Seattle now. But I feel like his play, we've gotten that with Brock McGinn. Certainly not the 8 goals that Tanev has, but Brock McGinn has been a really good replacement on that line with Teddy Bluger and Zach Aston-Reese. It's kind of ran all systems go, similar to what it did last season. So, in my opinion on it, and I still want to hear from all of you what your opinions are at this point about the Tanev and McCann situation, them no longer being in Pittsburgh, and how that came to an end. I want to let you, drop it in the comments. Let me know what you think about it. But at this point, you can't really do anything about it. And in my opinion, it's the one thing that Hextall and Burke are, it's the one move that they get bashed on quite a lot from Pittsburgh Penguins fans. But, I feel like they did the best they can. They at least recoup some assets in favor of that. But let's talk about this game a little bit. The game at hand here. Pittsburgh Penguins lead at 3-0. Early on in that game, you saw the Penguins do what the Penguins always need to do now in order to win. Their forecheck was going. And that's what completely led to the first goal. A turnover forced by the Pittsburgh Penguins, able to forecheck in the offensive zone whenever they don't have the puck. That's when you know the Penguins are going to have a good game, is whenever they are going after the puck carrier in the offensive zone. And it's clear. I mean, it sounds easy that, when they're actively forechecking, they're playing better. But that's how it is for the Pittsburgh Penguins. If they're not doing that, i.e. last week when you watched them play the Calgary Flames, they were not doing that. And they were getting completely ran over. If it wasn't for Tristan Jarry, they would have lost that game 7-0. But luckily for them, Tristan Jarry stood on his head and salvaged a point. So Andrew chiming in says, yes, he's upset. It's not fair to let him go, but yes, McCann can go is not right, but I agree with that. But Tanev is a good guy, and it's the best way to let him go. Yeah, it's similar to the Fleury situation in Vegas, and I hate to bring up his name because that's basically a spark plug for conversation in Pittsburgh, but it's the best way you can do it. I mean, no, you're not going to like to see your favorite player get traded. You're not going to like to see your favorite player go to a different team, but I mean, everybody lost somebody. I'm sure Tampa Bay Lightning fans were very upset to lose a guy like Yanni Gourde. But for Brandon Tanev, I think a lot of people are still just happy that he's loved in Seattle because he is definitely the fan favorite up there for the Kraken. He's had a good season thus far, but nobody on the Kraken is having a good game thus far. 3-0 in favor of the Penguins. And the Kraken, at the very least, though, in that last 5 minutes, what you saw from the Kraken was a couple opportunities, put the Penguins back on their heels, and kind of leveled the playing field. Early on, it was a little bit of an ice tilt. The Penguins were coming full force and full bore at the Seattle Kraken. Philip Grubauer was not ready in net, and that led to the Penguins getting a huge lead, Grubauer getting taken out of the game. And it's a tale as old as time. You switch the goaltender, Joey Daccord comes in, and you settle your team down a little bit. Now they can get going. And they were able to do that very well in the end of the first period. You look at the last 10 minutes, they climbed up to be able to get the advantage in shots on goal, to get up to 10 shots on goal on Casey DeSmith. Now, this game is not over. Like I mentioned, Casey DeSmith has given up 4.33 goals a game. So if he stays on that logic, and if Joey Daccord is able to shut the Penguins down the rest of this game, then it's going to be a 4-3 game in favor of the Kraken. But as of right now, they just aren't getting enough grade A opportunities. They almost had a couple late in that first period, but unfortunately for them, the sticks were tied up by the Pittsburgh Penguins in every single one of those aspects. So Andrew says he's a diehard Toronto fan from any team. Okay, so you're a Raptors fan, you're a Blue Jays fan. Okay. Toronto sports. Shout out. Got a fan here in Andrew. So I guess I'm asking Andrew how he feels about historically great Toronto Maple Leaf Jared McCann being taken by the Seattle Kraken. I mean, they should put McCann's jersey in the rafters. They don't even know what number he would have been, but they should put his jersey in the rafters. No number, just put Jared McCann. So getting ready for the second period. We're just a little bit left when it comes to time left in the intermission report. Keys to success in this second period. If you're the Seattle Kraken, you've already started to see what you need to do. You need to get clean exits. You need to slow down the Penguins' forecheck because early on, that's what was killing you. They were able to kind of shut it down a little bit at the end of the first. That's why they were able to get a couple opportunities, forcing turnovers and making the Pittsburgh Penguins play in their own zone. Because the Penguins play in their own zone. Listen, they have a really good player defensively in Chris Letang. He's going to be able to get the puck out of the zone. John Marino, Marcus Pettersson, those guys are going to be able to get the puck out of the zone. Normally, Brian Dumoulin is. Dumoulin's having a bad year. But whenever the third D pairing is out there for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Chad Ruhwedel and Mike Matheson, you got to strike. You got to get the forecheck going because when Matheson has the puck, he is not comfortable. So if he's back there with the puck, and we saw it late in the first period, it turned into an opportunity for the Seattle Kraken. If you can pressure him when he has the puck in his own zone and he's flat-footed, you're going to force a turnover, and then you just have to get the shot on goal. That's the thing. A couple of those shots missed the net. A couple of those shots were blocked. A couple of them didn't even get off. Their sticks were tied up. You need to be able to get those shots and those opportunities through in order to pressure Casey DeSmith because now that he's gone a full period without giving up a goal, he's made 10 saves on 10 shots already. He's going to have a little bit more when it comes to confidence coming into that second period. And hopefully, if you're a Penguins fan, you get a little bit more confidence in seeing him on better positioning. Because that's not where it was in the first period. We'll see what happens in the second period. Second period, just about to get underway. They're showing highlights of that first period now. They're showing somebody got injured. That's Jake Gensel. Took a shot to the hand, but he is out there for the second period. So he was able to extend his point streak. We'll see what happens and how that affects him going forward in this game. But definitely not a fun experience taking a shot right to the hand. Luckily, it looked like it hit them in the back of the hand where the most padding is. Pittsburgh Penguins it would definitely be a big hit if they lost him, but luckily he's back out. When you look at the Seattle Kraken and you look down at their stats, obviously the question is always going to be, where's the goaltending coming from? What's going to happen with the goaltending? But as of right now, when it comes to scoring goals, it has not been awful for the Seattle Kraken. I expected them to not be able to score goals this year. I expected them to be in the bottom third of the NHL this year when it came to putting the puck in the back of the net. They're 15th. They've been able to find goals. They've been able to get players to find the back of the net and able to really just kind of have career seasons. I mean, you look at Brandon Tanev has 8 goals already. He's not a guy that usually scores a lot of goals. But you really expected more from Philip Grubauer. It's been a rough start to the season, and you really you need him to be who he was last year. He was a Vezina finalist last year. Now, he was playing behind the Colorado Avalanche defense, and I understand that there's not very many defenses as deep and as talented as Colorado's was last season, but you need better performances from Philip Grubauer. I mean, especially what you saw tonight. He was not ready. He was shell-shocked, and he was absolutely embarrassed early on in this game. Great opportunity there for Jason Zucker right off the bat, 19 seconds in. A wraparound try, but Joey Decord was able to get over and make the pad save. Josh joining the stream here. He says, Nick, why do you think the Vegas has done so much better in their first season than Seattle? I don't know. I mean, I think part of it is the goaltending. Marc-Andre Fleury was really, really good in that first season for the Vegas Golden Knights. And as I was just mentioning, the Philip Grubauer has been rough. He's had a rough year. And also you look at some of the players they had there, the top tier talent that they were able to get. A guy like James Neal is surefire to score goals. You got 41 goals from a guy like William Karlsson. Jonathan Marchessault was also really good. But at the same exact time, you look at this Kraken roster and you have a lot of players that have scored. You have a lot of players that are overachieving what they've normally done, but you don't have anybody in that top level. Nobody that's been to that level that a Jonathan Marchessault was, or to that level that a guy like William Karlsson was. And I also think you obviously saw what happened there to kind of unite them right off the bat with the unfortunate shooting that took place in Vegas. But you saw them as a full team right off the bat with the Derek Engelland speech on opening night. So I think there's a lot of factors that goes into why Vegas was so successful. And I also think if you look at the way that people, and by people I mean the other 30 NHL franchises, handled the Seattle expansion and what they gave Seattle versus what they gave Vegas, I think Vegas kind of screwed Seattle. People were more wary of what they were doing when they went into the Seattle one because of what they saw, what happened in the Vegas expansion draft. But thanks for the question, Josh, and thanks for tuning in. Richard Flores, he always jumps in here every once in a while for a good THBN watch along. He says he's just here for Joey Daccord. Forks up, go Devils. I did not know he went to Arizona State. So that's a good little addition there. Thank you, Dick Flo, Richard Flores, for joining in. So the Penguins here, just over a minute and a half. Penguins versus Kraken, still 3-0. The Penguins have come out, kind of taken advantage there of early opportunities. Wraparound save by Joey Daccord, and it seems like they've controlled the pace of play and controlled the puck possession early on in the second. So if you expected a Seattle Kraken push to start the second period, you're not quite getting it. Here's another opportunity for Sidney Crosby. Tries to send it across the crease to Jake Gensel, but that is defended nicely by, I believe, Adam Larson. It's going to be a long road back for the Seattle Kraken, but it is a 3-goal lead. Nice opportunity there. It looked like Casey DeSmith was departing from that post and almost allowed the puck to go in there. A shot on by Adam Larson, but luckily he's able to smother it and freeze the puck. So with 2 minutes in now, hopefully the Seattle Kraken are trying to get a little bit of momentum going. Like I said, just throw anything at the net. This guy has not had a good season in Casey DeSmith. throw stuff at the net. Look how uncomfortable he was on that simple little shot. It comes in. He should be fine. He departs from the post. That's not something that a confident goaltender does. And that's not somebody who's great on his angles does. DeSmith is still struggling to stay on his angles, even though he has a 3-0 lead 22 minutes into this game. The Kraken's arena, that's a really cool concept, though. Looking at the dueling big screens, instead of one massive jumbotron in the middle, they got two on either side. That's a different concept. You would try different things in these new arenas. UBS obviously is going with the exact same big screen, but they're going with also the exact same kind of layout that the Coliseum had: low ceiling, tight quarters, trying to make it a little bit louder up there for the New York Islanders on Long Island. But I like the I like the Climate Pledge Arena, the way they've set it up. I'd like to visit it sometime. And also, I really like the natural lighting coming in during the day. Obviously, right now there's no natural lighting in there. Be interesting to see what happens when they play a day game, where the which way it's faced, if the sun's going to actually shine in through there or not. Richard Flores says, I almost forgot to say state there. Listen, I had to catch my breath. I've been talking a lot. And it would have been fair if I would have forgot to say Arizona State. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about, was it the Arizona Wildcats? I don't know. Arizona State's where it's at. We all know that. Andrew says, did I see your comment about McCann? Let me scroll up here. Oh, that you agree that you're upset that they let him go? Yeah, no, that is fair. I'm sure a lot of fans from Toronto were excited because McCann would have been a really good bottom six piece for them. But I mean, you can't really be too upset because the Toronto Maple Leafs right now are playing pretty good hockey, despite that loss last night and Austin Matthews getting mauled by PL Dubois. I mean, it's been a pretty good season if you're a Maple Leafs fan up to this point. Danelle asks, do I have a Kraken jersey? I do not. I would get probably a home branded Tanev Kraken jersey if I was going to get one. And I would get the Adidas jersey, not the Fanatics one, for their jersey. So we'll see how that works out. Christmas season, I don't really have the money to spend on anybody, or on myself, I should say. I do not know where the City Life Project is tonight, a.k.a. Isha Jerome. He's probably busy doing very important things for the network, because he usually does that pretty much every night. So I wouldn't be surprised. Great opportunity here and a goal. The road back starts with one, and the Seattle Kraken score. What did I say earlier? Jordan Eberle, notorious Pittsburgh Penguin killer. And they make it a 3-1 game early on here in the second period. Lots of game to go. We'll see if the Kraken can build off of this, but this was a nice goal there. It looked like a tripping call would have been called on Zach Aston-Reese. It was a delayed penalty. And then the puck squirts loose from, I believe, Wenberg over. Oh, no, it just went from him to Eberle, back to Wenberg, back to Eberle. That's a nice tic-tac-toe play, victimizing Marcus Pettersson of the Pittsburgh Penguins defense and Casey DeSmith. He doesn't know whether to cry or wind his watch. Nice little shout out there to Mike Lang. Had no idea what was going on there, and Jordan Eberle makes no mistake from there. The Kraken are on the board, and they have life in this game. 3-1 is the score. They still trail by 2. But like I mentioned, plenty of time left to play here, as there's 16-17 remaining in just the second period. You felt it coming at the end of that first period. I mean, I expected something like that to happen at the beginning of the turnover there by Decord, but the Penguins not able to take advantage there. Schwartz is going to lead the breakout for the Seattle Kraken. So you felt something was coming late in that first period. They just weren't able to get any opportunities on net. But there, Jordan Eberle is finally able to get the shot on net when he gets a good opportunity. He pots his 12th goal of the season for the Seattle Kraken. Are we going to have our first penalty of the game here? Possibly Yanni Gourde. They're separating Gourde and somebody for the Pittsburgh Penguins right now. And Gourde is definitely not happy about whatever is going on. I think it is a penalty. It's going to be on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Mike Matheson is going to head to the box, and the first power play of the game comes just about 25 minutes in, and it goes to the Seattle Kraken. They're going to put their 20th ranked power play to the test against the Pittsburgh Penguins NHL leading penalty kill unit. Yeah, that's going to be an easy high stick for Mike Matheson. He's asked to control that there. Brings it up high on Yanni Gourde. So he's going to sit for a couple minutes here. We'll see how the Penguins penalty kill fares against the Seattle Kraken power play. This is a great opportunity for the Kraken coming off of a goal where they get on the board. They cut the lead down to 2. Now you get an opportunity on the power play. This could really shift the tide here of this game in the Seattle Kraken's favor. We'll see what happens. The Penguins with the opening faceoff. Looks like Brian Dumoulin takes the puck, sends it up, doesn't get it out, but his teammate is able to shuffle it, not the whole way down, but Jeff Carter on a great forecheck. That's going to be another penalty. Are they going to call that? They don't call that. They're going to let that play on. It looked like Jeff Carter possibly tripped up the Seattle Kraken defenseman, but he does not get called for it. So it remains just a 5-on-4 with about 30 seconds gone in the Mike Matheson penalty. Little update from Monday Night Football. Pats crushed the Bills. Is that a final, Andrew? 14-10? I know it was low scoring. I mean, the wind was like 40 miles an hour. It's going to be a low scoring game. It's also in Buffalo in December, so what else? Don't expect anything less, but 14-10. We'll have to check if that is a final. Back to this game, though, just about 1 minute left in the power play for the Seattle Kraken. Jared McCann trying to enter the zone. That's going to be an offsides. But instead, it is turned over and an opportunity here for Teddy Bluger. Bluger comes in, shoots it. Dacord the save. Nice save by Joey Dacord on Teddy Bluger. Bluger scored a couple shorthanded goals already on the season, had a bouncing puck. He was able to settle it down, goes forehand back in, tries to slide it through the 5-hole, but Joey Dacord able to shut it down and is with him all the way, keeping this at a 3-1 game. Slowly but surely, the Seattle Kraken, they're taking all the momentum here. They get that goal. They're on the power play, although they haven't been able to really get any opportunities on this power play on Casey DeSmith. Huge save there by Joey Dacord on Teddy Bluger on a shorthanded breakaway to keep this at a 3-1 game. Remember that save if the Kraken are able to come back. Taking that one from the broadcaster's playbook 101. An opportunity here for Jeff Carter. His shot is deflected up into the zone, and we're going to have another faceoff in the Seattle Kraken zone. At that point, I mean, that play was all set up because Ryan Donato did not want to be called for offside. McCann entered the zone a little early, but dished it off. There were about 3 players for the Seattle Kraken offside, but at that point, take the offsides. I'd rather have a neutral zone faceoff than Teddy Bluger going the other way by himself. 100%. And then also, you see what happens because that sets up a potential offensive zone faceoff. My cat just crashed into the wall over there. I don't know what is going on. And then the 25 seconds were killed on the penalty. So not a good hockey move there by Ryan Donato a couple minutes ago. But the Kraken able to get into the zone, setting it up now. Vince Dunn looking for it. They got about 20 seconds remaining to do something here on this penalty. Haven't gotten a shot on Casey DeSmith as of yet. Dunn has it at the point still. Again, nothing doing right now. They're just playing a passing game up around. Dunn tries to get it in there. It is blocked, and that shot rebounded by Donskoy. He sends it on, and that's an easy save for Casey DeSmith. The Penguins clear it, and the penalty is killed. Penguins top-ranked penalty killed now 1-for-1 on the night. Seattle Kraken not able to respond. But still, in the meantime, a big save by Joey Dacord to keep the momentum in their favor. Chris Letang takes it. He's going to backhand it out. The Penguins have their top unit on now, trying to get a goal right after a penalty kill. Dacord sends it out. That's a turnover. John Marino takes it, tries to deflect it, and Crosby's not able to get a handle on it. Now Jake Gensel takes it. He sends it to the point. I believe that's John Marino. He's going to try a shot. That's blocked, and the Seattle Kraken come the other way. Kraken turn the puck over in the neutral zone. The Penguins able to take over. Sidney Crosby going to find Jake Gensel. Jake Gensel on a 13-game point streak, has 1 assist on the night, sends it over to Crosby. Great opportunity, but he's not able to beat Dacord. He doesn't even get that on net, it doesn't look like. Marcus Pettersson from the point. He takes a shot. Dacord waffle boards it away. Shout out Doc Emmerich. And the Kraken get it out of danger. Just under 13 minutes to play here in Seattle. Showdown between the Penguins and the Kraken. Penguins currently lead 3-0 on the strength of 3 goals in the first 6 minutes of the game. Chasing Philip Grubauer, Joey Dacord has come in and has played solid in relief. And in the meantime, the Kraken, on the strength of a Jordan Eberle goal, have cut the lead to a 3-1 game. Puck is sent down the ice, and that is going to be an icing. So, what we see in this game so far is a hot start by the Pittsburgh Penguins, able to finish on all their chances, get a couple of nice bounces. That shot by Crosby was actually saved by Dackord. It looks like it might have deflected off the post as well. So a good opportunity for Crosby there, looking for his second of the game. But what we've seen in the game story so far, just about halfway through it, is the Penguins get off to a really, really hot start. They're playing really well. Their forechecking is going well. They catch Seattle. They catch Philip Grubauer all on their back foot. And then after a 3-0 lead, you see the goalie change. The Kraken start to settle down. Now they've really settled into this game. And the chances are going back and forth. Dackord's playing really well. DeSmith hasn't really been tested. And you've seen him be a little bit shaky on some of the saves he's made. He was completely out of position and embarrassed in that goal. A great play, though, between Eberle and Alexander Wenberg, passing back and forth tic-tac-toe to score that goal. But the Seattle Kraken, they just need to get more opportunities on. They're going to cut the commercial break here. When they cut the commercial break, I have a question for any of the Kraken listeners here or anybody that just really wants to weigh in on this question. Seattle Kraken right now sit in 7th place in the Pacific Division. They're taking their lumps as an expansion franchise. But they've also won 5 of their last 7 games. I feel like I buried the lead. Although the Kraken are 9-13-2, they, like I said, they're 5-1-1 in their last 7 games, including 3 straight wins at Climate Pledge Arena. Does anybody here think the Seattle Kraken are going to push for a playoff spot this year? I don't know. When I look at the Western Conference, in the Pacific Division, there's 3 teams that you can genuinely say are probably going to be easy ins, and that's Edmonton, Calgary, and I'm going to say Vegas. The Ducks are off to a great start. Is that sustainable? I'm not sure. I think the Ducks are going to probably finish around a wild card this year, if I had to guess. And then you look at the Central Division. You have Winnipeg, Minnesota, especially, and then you also have the St. Louis Blues. Behind that, you have Dallas that's playing well. You have Nashville that's okay. And you have Colorado, who is getting better, but it started off the season really poorly. So are the Kraken going to be able to contend for a playoff spot? Yes. I think they'll be able to figure it out, especially if they're able to get a guy like Philip Grubauer to start playing up to his potential. That's really the big thing that they need. They need Grubauer to start playing better. If he's able to do that, this team will be able to compete. But he hasn't been able to so far. That's why they're so far down the list. So do I think they push for a playoff spot? I do. Let me know what you think. Do you think the Seattle Kraken push for a playoff spot here later into the season? We're only a quarter of the way through. So they have plenty of time. Similar to how they have plenty of time in this game, as the action is just about to get started once again between the Penguins and the Seattle Kraken. Kraken win the faceoff in the defensive zone, and Marcus Johansson is going to be able to take it out. Sends it up to Wenberg. Wenberg into the zone, shoots it on, and a save made there by DeSmith. That's the most confident I've seen DeSmith make a save in this game. And that's saying something, because that was a very, very nothing shot. But he handled that one well, at least. Andrew with a response says, no, they don't this year. Wait for next year for Seattle. Sharks will be on the playoffs. Really? San Jose Sharks. I mean, they're playing pretty well. They're sticking around. And the Red Wings. Okay. I don't know about the Red Wings. I like them. They're young. They're talented. I think they need better performances out of Alex Nedeljkovic. I don't know why I was about to say Elvis Merzlikins, but they need better goaltending, I think, out of Alex Nedeljkovic. I think he has more to give there. And I also, hopefully it continues, but it's hard to continue the pace that Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider are on for an 82-game season as 18 or 19 or whatever. But as rookies, it's tough to do. If they're able to do it, that's great. That's impressive, and I wouldn't doubt it. And right now they are sitting in a playoff spot, but both of those teams, I think they'll be around there. I don't know if I'd say both are going to be in the playoffs, though. This game here continues to roll on. Just about 10 and a half minutes left in the second period. Jeremy Lauzon takes it up the ice. He had a lot of space there. Just did not make a good first pass. You have that much space, you have to make a better first pass if you're Lauzon. Mike Matheson turns the puck over. Opportunity for Carson Soucy. He sends the puck through. Does not connect with, it looks like, Jonas Donskoy is who he was looking for. That's exactly what we said in the first intermission. What are one of the keys to success for the Seattle Kraken? Pressure Mike Matheson when he has the puck in his own zone. They're able to do that. They get a turnover and a partial 2-on-1, just not able to connect on it. Brock McGinn, a nice play there to get the puck out of the zone. Sperry Captain's going to chase it down and gives it to McGinn. McGinn's just not able to cut into the center of the ice. And Seattle Kraken take over again. The Kraken, when it comes to puck possession, seems like they have held the puck a lot more than the Pittsburgh Penguins here in this second period. A lot of it also is helped by the fact that they had a 2-minute power play about 5 minutes ago, but they were not able to get more than one shot on goal on Casey DeSmith. Brock McGinn takes the puck into the offensive zone looking for something, and he turns the puck over. Gets it back, tries to give it up to his defenseman, but it's turned over, and Jared McCann able to take it out. Kraken in the zone, looking to get something started. They send it up to the point. That's shot down and just misses the net wide. Teddy Blueger comes down behind the net to help out, but he turns the puck over. An opportunity there. It looked like it was Brandon Tanev, but his shot is deflected wide. They go to commercial break there. 8:55 remaining in the second period. We're a little over halfway home in Seattle. Penguins still lead 3-1 in the strength of 3 very early goals in this game. Andrew, which comment are you talking about? If you're talking about the Bills losing to the Pats, I lost in that game. I would have picked the Bills. I did pick the Bills. I didn't think the Bills were going to lose to the Pats, but they did. And Isha being with Bob earlier tonight. That's the other one you have up there. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody needs to sleep. Everybody needs to break. And Isha also works hard on the soda pod. So he might be doing that as well. He'll join us next time. But thank you to everybody that is currently on the live stream here on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. If you like this live stream, the good news for you is this channel has a live stream like this almost every single night of the NHL regular season. Tonight just happens to be one of those special nights where we have 2 live streams. Shout out to Bob Matthews, who had a live stream before me covering the Washington Capitals versus Anaheim Ducks game. And now we're here in the second half of a back-to-back with the Seattle Kraken taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins, just about halfway home here in Seattle. We got a lot of watchers here, Andrew, but right now it's just me and you in the comment section, buddy. Ain't no problem with that. I love talking. So we will continue to talk. If you are here, thank you so much for joining us. Like I mentioned, if you like what you're seeing here and you want more of it, subscribe to the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. You'll get more of these watch-alongs every single night across the entire NHL. Just about 8 minutes left here in the second period of play. They're showing Brandon Tanev's headshot. He is an enigma, Mr. Tanev. He is certainly an enigma, for sure. Puck is dropped, and the Penguins try to get possession of the puck, but it seems like the Seattle Kraken, once again, they're owning possession time here in the second period. Jaden Schwartz takes the puck, takes a slap shot. That one doesn't get through. That's the one problem. They're not getting any of the pucks home. None of it is getting on net. And when you have a goaltender that came into tonight with as little confidence as Casey DeSmith had, that's just no bueno. You need to get way more on net if you're the Seattle Kraken right now. Penguins force a turnover. Letang not able to get that opportunity there, but he keeps the puck in the zone. Jeff Carter sends it across, nothing home. And that's going to be Adam Larson sending it out of the zone. Chris Letang retrieves the puck for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they start out the breakout. Jeff Carter back into his own zone, Letang, and it looks like they're trying to set it up again. Letang almost turns the puck over, but finally does get it through to Jake Gensel, who starts it out, giving it to Evan Rodriguez, goes across ice to Brian Dumoulin. Dumoulin takes a shot, and Joey Daccord makes quick work of that one, snatches it out of the air, and stops play with 7:47 remaining here in the second period of play. The other thing I do want to mention and talk about here while we have some time in the midst of this game, something that I talk about on tomorrow's episode of the Hockey Hotbed, so definitely tune into that, where I cover every single team in the NHL, is the Olympics. Will the NHL pull out of the Olympics? They haven't as of yet. They've had 2 COVID shutdowns, one on the Islanders and one with the Ottawa Senators. They've had 2 teams like San Jose Sharks, team like the Pittsburgh Penguins, who we're watching right now, that have been hit hard by COVID. There's players on almost every team in the NHL at this point that have been on the COVID-19 list this season. Sidney Crosby cutting through the zone, jumping over to sprawling Joey Daccord, but the puck does not go in. So does the NHL back out of the Olympics? They're running out of time too. The deadline is January 10th. They can pull out after January 10th, but then there is going to be financial consequences for the NHL, so I don't expect that to happen. But we have seen players like Robin Lehner in Vegas decide that he's not going to play for Team Sweden due to health concerns. We're going to see more players do that. Tomorrow, Andrew, I do not know who the host is for tomorrow's. I can double check that for you. I can get that answer for you. There's a schedule that I can look at. I will get that one for you. Danelle says, locally, the Islanders are winless in 11 games. They're the oldest team in the NHL. They can't buy a goal. And the Devils are the second youngest team in the NHL, but don't play a full 60-minute game. Yeah, I believe the Islanders have lost 12 straight now. I might be wrong, but I think it's been 12 straight for the New York Islanders. What's today's date? Today's the 6th. Let's see who is out on the 7th for the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. Tomorrow night, Jerome will be doing the New York Rangers Chicago Blackhawks game. So Jerome will be on tomorrow doing Rangers Blackhawks. Definitely tune in for that. He does a great job for an original 6 matchup between the Blackhawks and the New York Rangers. But back to Danelle's comment. Yeah, no, the Islanders have had a really bad season. I keep expecting them to dig out of it. I just don't know if they're going to. I mean, at this point, you've lost 12 straight. Your team's not playing well. You're ravaged by COVID-19 and some injuries. It's tough to come back from that anyway. But either way, I mean, where they're sitting at, they're running out of time. The more they keep losing, the more the fact that they haven't won at UBS Arena, you really have to feel for Islanders fans. They were really excited in the last game, got a late goal to tie it, got into a shootout, and they still lost the game. Oh, well. Question, do you think both teams should fire their coaches and coaching staff for the Islanders and Devils? I don't think it's quite that time yet. I mean, I think it's hard to believe that Barry Trotz would be on the hot seat after taking his team to the Stanley Cup semifinals back-to-back years. But we did just see a general manager get fired less than 6 months after taking his team to the Stanley Cup finals. So anything's possible. But I think they're too far down the road of making this team what Barry Trotz wants, to answer your question, Danelle. I think if they get a different coach in there, the entire identity of that team is still a Barry Trotz team, and that's just not going to work. So I think they're committed to Barry Trotz. I mean, shoot, he had input on the arena. Can you imagine having input on the arena, getting fired only 5 games after the arena opened up? That'd be crazy. Back to this game, just about 5 minutes remaining in the second. My eyes and my brain just aren't working today for some reason. It's taking me a while to switch back and forth. But Right now, the Pittsburgh Penguins trying to get a little bit of momentum going because the entire second period up to this point has pretty much been Seattle Kraken. But it looks like the Penguins are starting to get their feet back underneath them the way they were early on in the first period. At this point, though, if you're the Pittsburgh Penguins and you're Mike Sullivan, you're looking at your team and you're saying, hey, we're the road game here with a 2-goal lead. Just play smart and don't make mistakes. Even if you just got to dump it in, do not turn the puck over at the blue line when you're trying to go in. Dump the puck in deep, make them do 200 feet. I know you don't want to play that for the entire last 24 minutes a game because, one, if you do allow the comeback at that point, it's hard to get yourself back into the game. You want to keep your foot on the pedal and you want to score more goals here. But you still have to be smart. You cannot turn the puck over. There's a good opportunity. Dominic Simone in front of the net trying to deflect it in. But that save is made by Dackford and the puck is sent up and out of play. The Penguins and the Kraken getting a little chippy now. Obviously, the first meeting between these two teams in the history of the Seattle Kraken. So what do the Kraken need to do? Again, it's weird, but it seems like they don't get any shots on goal. It really does not. Victor Kozlov says, I'm here from Philadelphia. Hackstall was a great choice. Now, are you being facetious? Because I know there's a lot of Flyers fans that did not like Dave Hackstall. So I don't know if you're being facetious. Also, Victor Kozlov, did you like WWE? And know what I'm talking about when I say Victor Kozlov WWE. That was back in like 2012, 2011. I think. Maybe earlier. Not at all. Okay. No, not at all being facetious. Okay. I mean, I think Dave Hackstall, whenever he was hired, it made a lot of sense. And it still makes a lot of sense for him to be there. He's a guy that's going to be able to probably bring these guys together. You have a lot of young players on there as well. Victor Kozlov played for the Rangers. Oh, that's right. Okay. Nikita Kozlov was the wrestler. Was it? I thought it was Victor. All right. Well, it's been a long time. I haven't watched wrestling in a long time, but all right. That's fair. But no, when it comes to Dave Hackstall as coach of the Seattle Kraken, he's a guy that he's going to be able to really try to mend and mold a lot of the young players in this team and the young players that were picked up, because they picked up a lot of young prospects, to be completely honest, in the expansion draft. Andrew says, are we cool? Yeah, we're cool, Andrew. I don't know why we wouldn't be. But yeah, no. Hackstall, I think that's the one thing that a lot of people liked. Everybody thought that maybe Rick Tocchet, I mean, honestly, you're from Philadelphia, Victor. There's a lot of talk that Rick Tocchet might be a guy that they go to for coach. It's an interesting conversation. I like seeing him on TNT. I prefer him to stay on TNT. Connor Smith says Nikita Koloff and Nikola Volkov, actually. Okay. Yeah, the Russian names, they go over my head, and I have trouble keeping them straight, to be completely honest. No Tocchet. You don't want Rick Tocchet as the head coach. I mean, that's fair. You look at his track record. He's a great assistant coach, apparently. But you look at his track record as head coach, what he did in Arizona was not great. So that's a fair assessment there. I did not see your other comment, Andrew. It's up there somewhere. Victor Kozlov says Flyers need a total rebuild. It's been a while since they've really kind of broken it down. You kind of saw the first Flyers hiring old players I'm done with. Yeah, no, that's also fair. I mean, you always want to see some new blood and get some new ideas and infusion of new stuff. When you look at the Flyers, you kind of had the beginning of a rebuild there, but by letting go of Jake Voracek, letting go of Shane Gostisbehere, there are a couple names that have just been there all the time. Now, if you want to do a total rebuild, it's going to be tough. I mean, what do you do with Carter Hart? Do you trust Carter Hart? Do you still think he's going to be great? What do you do there? Because if you go through a rebuild, by the time you're good again, Carter Hart's going to be what? A great opportunity here. Oh, going back to this game, an amazing opportunity there. I believe that was Morgan Geekie trying to feed Jared McCann in a revenge game. All started off with Brandon Tanev over to, I believe that's Geekie, and Casey DeSmith gets the stick out there and a great poke check. A nice pass by Tanev over the stick and the diving body of Mike Matheson. And DeSmith just able to get the poke check out and send it up and out of play. Great opportunity there. Connor Smith says, got a ticket to see the Canucks and Kraken on the 27th. There you go. That's fun. That should be a good matchup. Both teams struggling a little bit, but both teams, hopefully on the rise. Kraken have won 5 of their last 7. They're trying to come back in this game. And the Vancouver Canucks finally pulled the trigger on letting go of both Travis Green and Jim Benning. So both positives as of right now. Andrew says, let's trade Hart. He's too old, but still love him. Isn't he only like 25? I don't know. I don't know who would take him as of right now because last year was bad and this year is also not great. So his stock is down. So if you're going to trade, it's going to be trading for scraps at this point. I don't know. Some teams do need goaltending though, and they're willing to pay a premium for it. That's interesting. I didn't think that anybody would ever say to trade Claude Giroux out of Philadelphia. I mean, I guess I shouldn't expect really anybody to be safe in Philadelphia. Their fans, they're very harsh sometimes. So a great opportunity there. 2-on-1 and a goal for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Jake Gensel gets his second point on a 2-on-1. He shoots it right past Joey Daccord. And when the Kraken seemingly had all of the momentum in this game, throughout the entire period, they pulled it within 2, scored a goal. They kept the Penguins off the board, but a 2-on-1 here. Evan Rodriguez dishes it over to Jake Gensel, and he does not miss from that zone. Gets a great opportunity, a sprawling Daccord. Gensel lifts the puck, and the Penguins, just like that, take a 4-1 lead over the Seattle Kraken in the last 2 minutes of the second period here. Flyers are the 5th or the 6th oldest team in the NHL. Yeah, but that doesn't always mean they're not going to be successful. I mean, you look at the Washington Capitals, they did go a little bit younger this year, but they still have a pretty old core, and they're performing pretty well. I mean, historically, the last couple of seasons, the Islanders were one of the oldest teams in the NHL, and they were able to get it done, but it just seems like something else is wrong with the Flyers. That's not quite just age. Here's going to be another opportunity for the Penguins, 3-on-1 if they hurry. Looks like it's going to just be a 2-on-1, an opportunity for Chris Letang, and it bounces into the net. The save was made on Chris Letang, and it looks like Jeff Carter just poked it with his stick randomly. But it goes and bounces past Joey Daccord, and that looks like it's going to be a 5-1 game here with just over a minute left in the second period. That save was made by Daccord and then chipped up by Carter and bounces off of the Kraken defenseman, number 24. That's Big Rig Jamie Alexiak. The former Penguin bounces off of his shin pad and goes straight in. That's just bad luck for Joey Daccord, who has been really good since getting put into this game cold in the first period. He's kept them in it up until this point. 2 quick goals for the Pittsburgh Penguins late here. The first by Jake Gensel, assisted by Rodriguez and Crosby. And the second is going to go to Jeff Carter. Assist going to go to Chris Letang. And I cannot remember who else was on the rush with him. It might have been Danton Heinen. So the Penguins now a 5-1 lead with just about 30 seconds left here in the second period. It is Danton Heinen going to get the secondary assist here. Kraken trying to get something going late in this period, trying to get a little bit of a tally going. couple opportunities, and that is cleared out from in front of the net. Casey DeSmith standing tall on that one. Are the Kraken going to hold pat and just wait for the third period? That's what it looks like. Jeremy Lauzon holding the puck. 5 seconds and 4. He passes it over, but there's no time left. That's going to do it for the second period of play here. Pittsburgh Penguins lead the Seattle Kraken by a score of 5-1 on the strength of 2 late second period goals there. And it is becoming a laugher in Seattle, folks. Let me jump back into the comment section here. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. This is the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel where we do live watch-alongs every single night across the entirety of the NHL. There's about 6 or 7 of us now. The group is growing of people that are doing the NHL watch-alongs. But my name is Nick Berlansky. I host the Tip of the Iceberg podcast covering the Pittsburgh Penguins for the Hockey Podcast Network. I also do the Hockey Hotbed, which covers every team in the NHL for the Hockey Podcast Network. So I got 2 podcasts. New episodes come out Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday of those 2 podcasts. The Hockey Podcast, the Tip of the Iceberg podcast comes out Monday and Thursday. Hockey Hotbed out Tuesday and Friday. But let me jump back into the comment section. Thank you to everybody for tuning in here on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. If you like this video and you like this watch along, make sure you drop a like. And if you enjoy everything Hockey Podcast Network, make sure you subscribe to the channel. So jumping back in here, Danelle says, teams in the NHL need to rebuild. Certain teams that don't want to, but the Flyers and Sharks need to rebuild. Both teams never want to. Sharks are basically in the middle of a rebuild, but I don't think there's any way to offload the contracts of Brent Burns or Erik Karlsson. But it is weird that they've held on to Tomas Hertl and Timo Meier. I mean, if you're going to commit to a rebuild, those are the guys that you're going to be able to trade to get really good returns for because their contracts are not awful and they're still at a pretty good age. So I am surprised they haven't let them go. But again, at the same time, you look at how they've performed so far this season. It's not been bad. Hikaru perfectly explaining how Seattle Kraken fans must feel right now. That had to be disheartening. They basically controlled the entire pace of play in that second period. They had all the momentum starting to go in their favor. They cut the lead from 3-0 to 3-1. They just, even with all that possession, though, they just weren't able to get opportunities on Casey DeSmith in that period. It feels like they had the puck a lot, but they never had great chances. They really didn't. Victor Kozlov says, I thought this was a Seattle room. Not quite. Not quite. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania. I do have a Seattle Kraken hat on because I cover every team in the NHL. I try to remain as unbiased as possible. But like I said, I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, which means I grew up with ties to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And you certainly deserve to have that opinion. I understand. Philly and Pittsburgh, harsh rivals. I get it. Yeah, I also agree. Danelle, people who hate the shootout, raise your hand. That's me. I dislike the shootout. I don't know the best way to fix that problem, to try to get less shootouts. But I don't know. My suggestion was always add 5 minutes of 3-on-3 overtime. But apparently they don't want to do that. They think that's a bad idea because even if you do that, you're going to lessen the amount of games that end in a shootout. And that's all anybody wants. Nobody wants to watch a game end in a shootout. This is a team sport. You don't want to see one-on-one to end the game. It's fun for a skills competition. It's not fun to determine standings points, in my opinion. So I agree with Danelle. I don't like the shootout at all. So this game, second intermission now, the Pittsburgh Penguins lead by a score of 5-1. Let's check in on the stats right now. Pittsburgh Penguins lead in shots on goal, 21-19. Block shots favor the Penguins as well, 7-4. Penalties, 1 taken by the Pittsburgh Penguins. They killed that off in the second period. No penalties taken yet by the Seattle Kraken, staying out of the box against the Penguins. Not so lethal power play. Hits in favor of the Pittsburgh Penguins, 18-15. Faceoffs also in favor of the Penguins, 21-14. to 14. Let's check in on what happened in the second period specifically. It seemed like the Seattle Kraken carried possession for the bulk majority of play, but yet the Pittsburgh Penguins led in shots on goal by a total of 13-9. Block shots 4-2 in favor of the Penguins in that period. Obviously, the Penguins take their penalty in that period, or they're able to kill it off. Hits 8-6 in that period. Faceoffs 14-8, and then giveaways still 7-4. So if you look at the total in giveaways, let's go back to that. Total in giveaways right now is 13-4. The Seattle Kraken have been turning the puck over at a very large number. So it's not a good game if you're the Seattle Kraken. They're not executing well. Their zone exits are kind of sloppy. And when they get into the offensive zone and they get the opportunities, they're not able to get the shots on net, and they're not able to finish right now. And that's not good against a goaltender that came into this game with no wins on the season and was giving up 4 goals a game. So, Victor, our resident Flyers fan tonight, thank you for joining the stream, Victor. We appreciate it. Says Ron Hextall has a great philosophy, but weak on execution. His draft record in Philly was a D. Well, for the Pittsburgh Penguins, luckily last year he really didn't have much to draft. So we haven't seen how he's done. We'll see what he does this year. The Penguins still have their first overall pick. It seems like they're going to try to keep it for the first time in it seems like 30 years. Michael, joining the stream, joining the comment section, says the shootout is what he hates to watch because it takes no skill. You know, it takes a little bit of skill, but at the same time, when you're at the NHL level, everybody has that skill. So it takes away how special the end of a game can be. So I agree, but halfway with your statement there. It doesn't take extraordinary skill in the NHL to be good in the shootout. Hence the reason why we get late into a shootout and we see somebody like Wojtek Wolski able to score. I butchered his name, but that's what happens. End Collapse says, will they get over 7? The Pittsburgh Penguins. Knowing the Penguins, they're probably going to take their foot off the gas. So I don't think they score over 7 goals in this game, which normally if you've been on any of the watchalongs that I've done means fade me and they're going to score over 7, but I don't think they're going to score over 7. Knowing the Penguins' philosophy, and by the Penguins' philosophy, I just mean the way that they've played, they're going to probably take their foot off the gas. They're probably going to finish this game 5-3. That's what I would go with if I had to predict how this game is going to end. Amrit by Badial. Am I saying that correctly? I hope so. It says Kraken goaltending is brutal. It is. It's really bad. Luckily, though, for the Seattle Kraken, you did see a little bit of something from Joey Datcord throughout the first 20 minutes he was in there. And then that end of that second period, that's a gut punch there to give up those 2 goals within the last 2 minutes. I've always said the first 2 minutes and the last 2 minutes have to be your best hockey. And right there, the Seattle Kraken proved why, because the difference between going into the second intermission down 3-1 with all the momentum that they built versus going down 5-1, it takes all the wind out of the sails that the Kraken built up over 20 minutes of game time. So it's awful. Hikaru says legendary shootout specialist Eric Christensen. I love that. Anybody that remembers EC Eric Christensen in the early Sidney Crosby days, you had to love it. The dude was lights out. That was back also before Chris Letang was lights out early on and scored his first 10 shootout opportunities. Victor, you got to build from the goalie out. 100% agree. You see what the Tampa Bay Lightning, they weren't able to get over the hump until they got Andrei Vasilevsky to the level that he is now. So, and you look at the Pittsburgh Penguins, you see what happened last year in the playoffs. They outplayed the New York Islanders, should have won that series, but their goaltending was really bad, and it cost them. So I agree. Danelle asks, who do you think is the face of the NHL? Crosby, McDavid, or Ovi? I think it's a very fluid situation. I honestly think Crosby's out of that spotlight, though. Crosby's not the face of the NHL. He's the face the NHL wants to be out there because consistency, and I think he's one of the most billable, most marketable stars in the league. But if I'm talking about who the premier face of the National Hockey League is now, it's between McDavid and Ovechkin. And for the most part, it is McDavid. I think it is his league now. I feel like he's the top dog. But right now, the way Alex Ovechkin has been playing for Washington, I mean, the guy just scored his 750th goal. There's only 3 other players in the history of the league that's ever done that, obviously. So the season that he's having and the fact the Washington Capitals are as good as they are, he's one of the faces of the league this year. But going forward, the face of the league is Connor McDavid. The biggest reason Vegas was so good, Fleury was killer. Yeah, no, Victor, we talked about this earlier. Definitely the big reason that Vegas was great was Fleury was massively important to that. But also, at the same time, you look at some of the things that happened for the Vegas Golden Knights that didn't happen for the Seattle Kraken. Nobody traded or nobody gave the Kraken a player to take a certain player. Nobody, say, gave up, I believe they gave up like Alex Tuck. That way the Vegas Golden Knights took somebody. They also did it with Florida. So they were able to get Marchessault and Riley Smith from Florida. So there were certain things that the other teams in the league did going into the Vegas draft that they didn't do going into the Seattle draft because it helped Vegas so much. Michael saying he worded it wrong meant more like it doesn't require hockey sense because besides thinking of where to shoot. I agree. There's only a finite amount of things you can do in a shootout. Finite amount of moves. You're going to go forehand. You're either going to shoot top glove side, top blocker side, 5-hole. That's 90% of shootout attempts right there. It's either, if you want to get fancy, they might do the Forsberg or they might do what Kirill Kaprizov did the other day. What he did, that made it impressive. To just float it up over there, that's when it's impressive. Or when you do stuff like Patrick Kane and you show how much puck control and how much handle you have with the puck, that's when it gets a little bit more impressive. But at the same time, it's genuinely the same thing. It's either glove side high, blocker side high, or 5-hole at some point. And if it's not, and if you really deke the goalie out of the net, that just means the goalie was off to begin with. So Michael says Crosby isn't anymore. I agree. It's McDavid. He passed the torch already. And Ovi isn't either. I think Ovi is getting a lot of clout now because of the race. And I think he's going to continue to do that because of the race to catch Gretzky. And also the fact that he's having a really good season this year. I mean, he's a facilitator this year too, which is something that not a lot of people believed in. Him being a great facilitator, but that's what he's done so far this year. But I do agree that it is Connor McDavid right now as the premier face of the National Hockey League. Danelle asks, do you like the Golden Knights gold third jersey and really hate those gold helmets? Yeah, I'm not a fan of the gold helmets. I hated the gold jerseys to begin with, but they have grown on me a little bit. I don't know if I'd ever buy one and own one, but I think they look good on the ice for sure. This is the only place that we are streaming on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. We are streaming here and here only right now, and that's how we're going to continue to do it here for THPN on their YouTube channel. So if you like this, if you like these watch-alongs, make sure you subscribe. There's about 6 or 7 of us hosts that rotate, but we do try to make sure we get at least one live stream watch-along every single game this NHL, or every single night this NHL season, not every single game. That would be really cool if we could, though. But at least one every single night is what we're trying to achieve. And so far, we're doing pretty good. Andrew says, can Ovi pass Wayne's points? No, there's not a chance that he passes Wayne's points. Wayne Gretzky has more assists than anybody else has points in the National Hockey League. So that's not a stat that's going to be passed anytime soon. I don't even know if McDavid's going to be able to come even close to sniffing that. And McDavid is doing some pretty interesting things these past 2 years. I mean, last year, 105 points in 55 games, just crazy numbers. Victor says scoring's way up this year. Agree. I've seen a lot of high scoring games, but at the same time, you also look at a team like Calgary that has 7 shutouts. So I think there's pretty good parity in the league this year. Scoring seems like it might be a little up because you see some of the top tier players having more, success, scoring more points, like Leon Draisaitl having over 2 points per game. But I don't know if as a whole, scoring is that high up. Michael says he likes the Montreal reverse retro. I do. I think it was cool for them to go to a blue instead of their old fashioned red. I think that was a bold choice by them. Didn't know how their fans were going to react to that. So I think it was really good. Let's see. Loki's Log 7 says, I take Crosby as first pick any day. If you're going full career, yeah, I'd probably still take Crosby. Mainly because of, I don't want to say leadership, but I mean, you have 3 Stanley Cups. You've won those gold medals. You've won MVPs in tournaments and MVPs in the league. His career as a whole, even with the injuries, yeah, I would take Crosby as first pick. And I also agree, yeah, nobody's going to pass the great one in points. Nobody's probably going to pass him in assists either. Andrew says Rust is coming back soon. Andrew, I don't know if you listen to the Tip of the Iceberg podcast. I don't, which is fine. I don't expect anything. I don't hold anything against people that don't listen to my podcast. But we talked about Brian Rust on today's episode. And my co-host, Nick Horwat, wrote an article about possibly bringing Jake DeBrusk to the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's something we could all talk about. But, he mentioned that Brian Rust might be a trade piece this year. Let me know what you think about that. We could discuss a little bit. A lot of guys almost at a goal per game clip. Yeah, there's a lot of players that have found some success this year that we didn't traditionally see. I mean, Troy Terry, 15 goals. Andrew Mangiapane has, I believe, 17 goals, most of them on the road, which is weird. There's a lot of players that are starting to put the puck in the back of the net a little bit more than we expected. So I do agree in that aspect. I haven't looked at the hard, fast numbers about whether goal scoring is up or not. But, hey, it's what the NHL wants. You've seen them make pads smaller. You've seen them do everything they can to try to change the rules a little bit to get a little bit more scoring, because ultimately scoring is what puts the butts in the seats. So that's what the NHL wants. They want competitive games and they want high scoring games. I still like a good old fashioned 2-1 game any day of the week, but a game like this though, 5-1, it's fun seeing all the scoring. You just wish it was a little bit closer, for sure. Michael says, the way I would like to build Crosby is the best forward of all forwards, like McDavid, Ovi, Gretzky, and Lemieux, because of his defense. Yeah, Crosby, early on, though, in his career, he was not defensively sound. But neither was Ovechkin. Ovechkin's gotten a little bit better, but Crosby, there were a couple years where he was putting up numbers that people were saying he should be nominated for the Selke. I don't know if I would have gone that far, but he had a couple of really good defensive years. Last year was not one of them. Last year was bad. So we'll see what happens with that. But at the same exact time, I do think Crosby, he goes down as one of the top 5 players of all time. He does. I still think I hold Lemieux and Gretzky above him, and probably Bobby Orr, but I would put him right there at 4 or 5 for sure. Yeah, Jake Gensel. I mean, I agree, Michael. Jake Gensel right now, he has a goal and assist tonight. That gives him 26 points on the season. That gives him 14 goals on the season and a 13-game point streak. He's on fire right now. Half off Jake Shakes for everyone. Anybody that's in Pittsburgh is going to enjoy one of those tomorrow. Victor asks, will we ever see 150 points or over in a year? In the salary cap era, it's going to be very hard. There was a while there, and I haven't double-checked, but there was a while there where Leon Draisaitl was heading for 160 points on pace this year, which would have been ridiculous. Obviously shattered all salary cap era records. But I don't know. Possibly. If it's going to happen, it's going to be McDavid or Draisaitl. I don't see anybody else really getting up to that level right now that's in the league currently. So it's going to be one of those two if it happens. Maybe this year. But also, the longer the season goes on, the less scoring there really is. So I think it probably slows down. I think you see one of them possibly pass 130 this year, but I'm not exactly sure that we're going to see somebody go over 150 anytime soon. It's going to be difficult. Victor says he likes 4 or 5 goal games, especially when the Flyers are in the behest of it, right? When the Flyers are the team up 4 or 5. Danelle asks, have I ever watched the Mighty Ducks movies? If you have, which one is your favorite, D1, D2, or D3? Those movies is what got you into hockey. Also, the cartoon series as well. I've watched all of them. Yeah, like most people that are in their 20s right now, I grew up watching them. Not great to rewatch right now. I don't know why. I try to rewatch them, and I struggle through it. But my favorite one is still the original. You got to go with the original. That's my baby. My favorite is definitely the original. Great opportunity there by Danton Heinen. I just realized I didn't take a commercial break in that period. I usually like to take one each period, but oh well. We roll on. A lot of great comments, a lot of great conversation. So who needs a break? Nobody does. Hikaru says scoring is fun in the regular season, but in the playoffs, 0-0 overtime is the best tension. I don't know about that. I don't need the life taken off of my year, or the years taken off of my life with a 0-0 game going into overtime. That's very difficult. Even 0-0 late into the third period. You know what I like, though, Hikaru? I like double overtime 2-2 games against the Ottawa Senators. If you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, you certainly understand that reference. Everybody was asking where the City Life Project is. There he is. What's going on, Isha? How you doing? That's fine. You don't need to be sorry that you're late. There's no agreement that you have to be here, for sure. But I appreciate you joining. Ovi will get 150 points this year, easy. Okay, Ovi's at what, 39 points? Did he score tonight? Actually, I don't know. He was at 39 points going into tonight with 19, or was it 19 goals? 20 goals, 19 assists, something like that. Let's see. Did he score any points tonight in the Capitals 4-3 shootout win? He had an assist, and he had 2 assists. Okay, so now he has, 41 points in 26 games? He's not going to score 150. Come on. He might get 100. He probably will get 100. He'll probably score 50 goals. But, yeah, no, I don't see anybody getting over 150 points this year. No love for Ovi, such a Pens fan. Okay, listen. I've given plenty of love for Ovi. I have him as the face of the NHL over Sidney Crosby. I think it's either him or Gretzky. So don't come for me with that. An opportunity here, a breakaway, and that's not going to go for Evan Rodriguez. Had a nice breakaway on a beautiful dish from Jake Gensel, but just not able to put it in the back of the net. Not like the Penguins need any more goals in this game. They're up 5-1. 17:41 remaining in the third period. Crosby with a nice outlet pass to Gensel, who splits the D, sends it up to Evan Rodriguez. Goes on the backhand, and it just kind of rolls off his stick. It's a good play by Lauzon. Comes in, throws the stick, and just bounces it off Rodriguez, just enough to get his focus off, and he doesn't get a good shot off on Joey Daccord. Michael asks, what's my team? My team is the Pittsburgh Penguins. I know I'm wearing a Seattle Kraken hat. It's because I love the logo, and I knew I was doing a Kraken game tonight. I do try to stay as impartial as possible because I cover every team in the NHL for the Hockey Podcast Network, for my podcast, The Hockey Hotbed, but I also do cover the Penguins on the Tip of the Iceberg podcast. But try to remain as impartial as possible. And again, Isha saying I'm such a Pens fan. I got the Caps ranked number 3 in my power rankings right now. I don't know if such a Pens fan would do that. But trying to catch up here. The chat is going strong right now. Let's look. More than Leon in points and goals. Wow. Isha is in with a vengeance. Lots and lots of comments. Love it, Isha. Welcome. The Soda Pod also joining us. The Soda Pod here on the Hockey Podcast Network. They cover the Minnesota Wild. A lot of Wild fans are at my throat by putting the Wild at 10 on my power rankings. People were not happy about that, especially since I kept the St. Louis Blues ahead of them. Okay. But there was a nice question up here that I wanted to see. It was from, Loki's Log 7 says, what's my best NHL moment? His is the Penguins Game 7 win in 2009 at Detroit. You were there. I am instantly jealous. Instantly jealous. Max Talbot heroics. Marc-Andre Fleury diving stop on Nick Lidstrom. It's hard to go against that. It really is hard to go against that. My favorite moment. NHL moment. That's tough. Personally, my favorite moment was the beginning of Game 5 in 2016. They lost that game, but they were up 3-1. I was outside the arena with the 20,000 plus people ready for the Penguins to win on home ice for the first time in franchise history. And just the atmosphere there when they scored their first goal. I don't remember who scored the goal. I remember they were down 2-0, and that made it 2-1. But the atmosphere being there, that makes it my favorite NHL moment. It was crazy. Just absolutely crazy to be there. I was there at, I believe, 8 a.m. that day to get my spot, and I got a great spot for the big screen outside. But that was my favorite NHL moment, for sure. So lots of people in the comments section. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the like button if you really like it. We're back almost every single night. We mentioned earlier, Jerome's going to be here tomorrow with an Original Six matchup covering the New York Rangers and the Chicago Blackhawks. Also, a shout out to Bob Matthews, who was on just before me, covering the Washington Capitals and the Anaheim Ducks. That game 4-3, ending in a shootout. But here, no such luck. If we were hoping for a good game right now, a close game, it is 5-1 in favor of the Pittsburgh Penguins with just under 15 minutes to play here. The Seattle Kraken did have a lot of opportunities in the second period. They controlled the pace of play. They controlled the puck possession. They had a couple opportunities. They had the only power play opportunity of this game, but just not able to get any great opportunities on the backup goaltender, Casey DeSmith. And they're making DeSmith look a lot better than he has been all season long. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to hit that one. I wanted to highlight Michael's comment here. He says his favorite NHL moment was witnessing the Pens beat the Sharks because that was when he first started watching hockey and he was 10 years old. That's really cool. That's really cool. I remember when the Pens beat the Sharks, it was weird. I've celebrated basically every Penguins Stanley Cup victory that I was alive for differently. I was not alive for the 1991-92 ones. I celebrated those by doing nothing because I wasn't alive. But in 2009, I was around the age of 13. So I celebrated that one by, I don't know, riding my Razor scooter around at night and yelling happiness into the air. I don't know. 2016, I was sitting on the couch with my father, and we just sat there and kind of watched it and smiled and we're happy. In 2017, I was at the arena when they won in Nashville. I was at PPG Paints Arena when they had a watch party. And that night I just, I went crazy, lost my voice, and I walked from downtown Pittsburgh up into Oakland, which is not a fun walk, but I was not waiting for the bus to go up. So Victor Kozlov says Keith Primo's 5th overtime goal against the Pittsburgh Penguins. That is a great NHL moment. Oh, I thought there was another goal there by Dom Simone, but I should have thought better after seeing Dom Simone was the one that shot it. Nice save there by Joey Dacourt, able to get across and rob Simone to keep the game at 5-1. I know my focus has kind of drifted from this game, but mainly because, it's not a close game right now. It's 5-1. It's going to be hard for the Seattle Kraken to jump back in it, but I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm understanding what is going on. And, right now it seems like the Penguins are handling business. Pittsburgh 5.5, 5.5. I don't know what that means, but thank you for joining the stream. We are here getting late into the midnight hours, burning the midnight oil here on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. Pittsburgh Penguins lead by a score of 5-1 over the Seattle Kraken. Let's go into the stats right now. Where we see is the Penguins leading in shots on goal, 24-23. Block shots in favor of the Penguins again, 9-5. Penalties, only one in the game, and that was Mike Matheson of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pens were able to kill that one off to improve their NHL best penalty kill percentage. Hits, even at 19. And then the faceoffs, 26-16 in favor of the Pittsburgh Penguins. So, a couple questions here, a couple thoughts. Michael says, every time I try to do that, it switches up. But Michael says he hopes Jarry stays consistent. Tristan Jarry has been really good dating back to the middle of November. I mean, kind of the start of all of this for Tristan Jarry, this little brief run of just absolute excellence between the pipes, was an embarrassing loss where he got shelled in Washington. I was at that game. Penguins lost 6-1 to the Washington Capitals. They looked hapless. They got absolutely crushed. And then the next game, they lose 2-1. Third period starts off well. The Penguins play really well, just not able to come back and win that game. But from that point on, there's only been one game where Tristan Jarry has allowed more than one goal, and that was against the Edmonton Oilers and Connor McDavid last Wednesday. Other than that, lots of one-goal games, 3 shutouts as well. Everybody hopes that this is consistent. Is this the new Tristan Jarry, or is this just a hot streak? That remains to be seen. I was genuinely surprised to not see him start this game tonight against the Seattle Kraken. But what that says to me is the fact that it'll be almost a full week in between his starts, because he will start Friday against the Washington Capitals. What that says to me is the Pittsburgh Penguins want to give him another day of rest here, because they plan on possibly, or most likely, having him start both Friday night in Washington and on Saturday night at home against the Anaheim Ducks, which makes a lot of sense. Either that, or they're just trying to get Casey DeSmith some playing time so he can improve and get a little bit of confidence underneath him, which this game certainly should do. The Soda Pod asks a question that we should all know that I'm not going to answer this the way that he wants to. So, Nick, when do the Pens bring back Murray with 50% retained from the Sens? They don't, is the correct answer. They don't bring back Matt Murray. That would not be a good idea. Right now, you have Casey DeSmith, who has been struggling all season long, but he's winning right now 5-1. You can't go against that. And if they need another backup, they have one in the AHL. Bring up Louis Domingue. I mean, the question is Louis Domingue going to be able to be 21-5 Louis Domingue that he was with the Tampa Bay Lightning in their record-breaking season? I don't know. He says someone is salty. I'm not salty about the Matt Murray thing. I knew that was coming whenever I saw the Soda Pod was here. I knew there was a Matt Murray question coming. I didn't want to mention it because I didn't know if you'd forget, but I should have known the Matt Murray question was coming. No, I don't think the Penguins bring back Matt Murray. I don't. Let's see. Follow-up question earlier to Brian Rust. Andrew, what was that question? Let me look. I don't know. If you could repost that at the bottom, there's a lot of questions to go through, but definitely. Hikaru K with a good point. Hopefully Lindbergh gets back from his injury soon. Talking about Philip Lindbergh, the rookie out of UMass, had a really good start to his first pro season. Was the goaltender of the month for the first month of the AHL. So the Penguins, obviously, the baby Penguins, are hoping he gets back. He has a bright future, only 22 years old in net there. The Penguins are hoping he's somebody that in a couple of years down the road could possibly be a backup or maybe even a starter if things don't work out with Tristan Jarry. But as of right now, things are looking good for Jarry and his beautiful midnight pants or midnight pads that he has. In the zone, a good opportunity. That is a rocket shot. Is that Jake Gensel? Oh my goodness. Jake Gensel, stay hot, buddy. That is the second goal of the game for Jake Gensel. Third point of the game, an absolute rocket of a wrist shot past Joey Decord. And the score is now 6-1 in favor of the Pittsburgh Penguins. A nice play there by the Penguins' first line. Driving hard to the middle by Evan Rodriguez. Dishes it off to Gensel. And does he go high glove side on that? Skate to stick. No, he goes cross ice. He goes blocker side, top cheddar, where mama hides the cookies. And that's a beautiful goal by Jake Gensel to make it 6-1 in favor of the Penguins. An absolute blowout here ahead of a 3-day rest for them. The Seattle Kraken, they got to fight to get something to look forward to in this game, because it has just been all Penguins except for about a 15-minute period where the Kraken were able to take advantage and take possession and take the momentum, but they were not able to get anything past Casey DeSmith. So this game continues here with the Penguins completely dominating on the scoreboard. Let me look down through. Are the Baby Pens the most successful AHL franchise of all time? I don't know. I don't know. I haven't really paid too much attention to it. They are the favorite team of Michael Scott and everybody from The Office. So I would say that gives them like 1,000 bonus points right off the bat. There were a couple years back in the mid 2010s where they had these players like Jake Gensel, like Brian Rust, and yeah, they were pretty good. They went pretty far, but I'm not exactly sure, how many Calder Cups they have. I really should. You're making me look bad. No, I'm just kidding. Definitely a question for Richard Blosser, our resident AHL expert on the Hockey Podcast Network. Michael says people underrate Gensel too much. A lot of people think that Jake Gensel is a product of Sidney Crosby. I'm here to tell you that Sidney Crosby is now a product of Jake Gensel. Clearly, that's a joke. But, Jake Gensel, just that goal, part of the epitome of what he is. Not only is he a sharpshooter, which is what he's been since he came into the league, he's added the net front presence to his game, which is something for a guy of his stature is incredible. It is incredible that he's been able to be a net front guy, score from the dirty areas. He's trying to pick up a little bit of Patrick Hornqvist in his game, even though he's not nearly the size of Patrick Hornqvist. But he's gotten a lot better, for sure. Let's see. Isha says they've just been around and attached to the NHL team for so long. Yeah, that's very true. They've been able to stick around, which for a lot of AHL franchises is not an easy thing to do. I mean, you see freaking Charlotte Checkers, a team that was successful in the AHL, and they get bounced around from team to team. So Isha also says, Jake ain't Kunitz. Come on. No, Jake isn't Kunitz. Jake is much better than Chris Kunitz. I was not a huge fan of Chris Kunitz. He was what he was, but clearly he was riding on some coattails. Jake Gensel, early in his career, you could say that, but now I think you can say with the way that he pushes play, the things that he's able to create. I mean, you look at his assist earlier in the day. Getting that shot through is not an easy thing to do. That is a skill there. So I think Jake Gensel is on a much different level than what Chris Kunitz was when he was with Pittsburgh Penguins. Can't disrespect Kunitz too much, though. He is technically a Penguins legend, which that list is very long if you're starting to include guys like Kunitz. Michael said he's going to sleep. Hope Gensel gets another hat trick. That would be back-to-back games for Jake Gensel if he's able to notch one more goal here before the end of this one. But thank you, Michael, for joining the stream. Hope to see you the next time I jump on here at the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being active in the comments as well. Everybody has been active in the comments. It's been a lot of fun tonight. We have about 8 minutes and 50 seconds remaining here in the third period play. Penguins up 6-1 right now. Just absolute domination here in the first ever game between these two franchises. Yep. Isha with another good point. Chicago Wolves, another team that has bounced around NHL team to NHL team. Andrew says he sees that happen. He's good, but Rust is the best on the team. It's hard to believe it with a new one, but I pick Rust. Okay. I don't know. Brian Rust is on a contract here. I hate to say it, but I partially agree with my co-host Horwat that he might be a decent trade piece if the right trade comes along. Horwat, he tossed his name in there for to kind of connect him to a possible Jake DeBrusk deal. I don't know about that. I think that one for one is a joke. But he talked me into it a little bit. Brian Rust, last year of his contract, makes $3.5 million. His agent's going to be able to argue that he would have had 30-goal seasons if it wasn't for the COVID shortages last year and the year prior. So he's going to demand a raise. And the Pittsburgh Penguins, who right now, at the end of this year, are going to have 15 expiring NHL contracts, they're going to need to make some decisions. And the decision on Brian Rust is going to be a difficult one. Exactly what I mean, Isha. A guy like Chris Kunitz making Team Canada in 2014 over Martin Saint-Louis, who was my favorite player growing up. It was Crosby, Saint-Louis, mainly because, I'm still not tall, but I was much shorter when I was back playing hockey. And Martin St. Louis gave me hope that I could possibly make the NHL one day. Clearly, I didn't understand how non-skilled I was. But hey, seeing the height, I was like, okay, that's not the reason I'm not going to make it, because of the height. Because Marty St. Louis is in the league, and he is tiny. Oh, yeah, St. Louis did play, but he was not chosen over Kunitz, which is the thing, which is crazy. The Soda Pod asks, do I think the Penguins will go after JT Miller? I think everybody in Pittsburgh believes that they will go after JT Miller because he was born in any direct vicinity of Pittsburgh. Usually guys like that end up making their way into trade rumors on Penguins Twitter. 100%. Should they? Yeah. Can they afford him? I don't know. I really don't know what they're going to do there. And by they, I mean the Vancouver Canucks. I just, especially now with the new general manager, I mean, you're not going to be able to take advantage of him like people could take advantage of Jim Benning. So they might actually have a smart guy in the office now, so it might be more difficult to get a good deal out of him. Yep. Nice little Step Brothers reference there. Did we just become best friends? Yep. Now, listen, the Soda Pod, who's running this account right now? Because if it's State of Hoppy, I thought we already were best friends. I'm a little offended. Isha thinks he's going to ask for $7 to $8 million next year. PPG top winger, center. So he could ask for huge money. I mean, there's no way, shape, or form. And, you know, I'm giving away basically the podcast that I produced today. So I'm already basically giving it away for free. Not even for free. I don't charge for anything. But there's no universe in which Brian Rust should get paid more money to play for the Pittsburgh Penguins than Jake Gensel. If he requests more than Jake Gensel, that's when you look at him and you say, okay, no, sorry. I mean, you look at his season this year. He only has 2 goals. One of them an empty netter. I understand he's been on the IR twice, but that's another issue. He's been inconsistent if you look at his entire career. When he's on, he's one of the top. He's a great goal scorer. He's potentially a 30 goal scorer. But when he's off, it's almost like having, I don't know, not even Darius Kasparaitis out there. But Andrew, thank you so much for joining the show. I will see you tomorrow. I might join, be on the other side of things, be commenting on the other side of things as Jerome does a stream of the Blackhawks versus the New York Rangers. But thank you, Andrew, for joining. Make sure, obviously, you're subscribed. What am I talking about? I know you're subscribed. But anybody that's not, definitely make sure you subscribe to the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel, where we do watch-alongs like this almost every single night of the National Hockey League season. Tonight, just being one of those special nights where we have a doubleheader. Shout out to Bob Matthews, who was on right before me, covering the Capitals and the Anaheim Ducks. So make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all of our watch-alongs here on THPN. 5:41 remaining in this game between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Seattle Kraken. And this one is a laugher up in Washington. 6-1. Insane game up to this point. Jake Gensel going off again. Sidney Crosby getting in multiple points. Big Jeff Carter has multiple goals on the night as well. Just a good game if you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. If you're a Seattle Kraken fan, that ends. I mean, they were on a good run here. 3 wins in a row. That streak ends at home. 5 of their last 7 games. They're going to be now 5 of their last 8. But still, playing better hockey before tonight. They just need to figure out what went wrong tonight and try to just avoid doing that going forward, because this is starting to look like the Seattle Kraken of their long losing streak a couple weeks back. The Beer Sports Whatever podcast says, hey, Nick, subscribed last week. Love the channel. Thank you so much for joining the channel. Thank you for subscribing. We're glad to have you. Thank you for commenting. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for also, I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that I'm doing great. Sometimes I feel like I'm just talking a little too much, but I guess that's the job here. I guess that's the point. I'm supposed to talk too much. But the Pittsburgh Penguins lead right now 6-1. Time is winding down in this game. The Penguins back on the horse after a rough start to this 5-game road trip out west. Obviously, we all remember, if you're a Penguins fan, we all remember how putrid they played against the Calgary Flames last week. Mike Sullivan, so much so to give 2 one-word answers in a row. You don't see that very much from Mike Sullivan. He's usually a guy that's very eloquent and likes to explain out his thoughts. But when asked if there was any other performances besides the goalies that he thought were good, then he said no. And they asked, would you like to elaborate on that? And he said no. So, yeah, he was not happy after that one. And then, of course, they got bodied by Connor McDavid last week. But since then, 4-1 win over the Vancouver Canucks on Saturday. And right now, a 6-1 lead over the Seattle Kraken, even with their backup goalie, Casey DeSmith, in net, who has been absolutely awful up to this point this season. Pittsburgh Penguins trying to exit the zone, clear it out. That's going to stay in. If you're the Seattle Kraken here, you just want to get 1 goal to end this game. Make it 6-2. There's a stat. Player of the game goes to Gensel. He gets 2 goals and an assist, and he's a +3 on the day. 7 goals in his last 4 games. Obviously helped out by the fact that, he scored a hat trick on Saturday. But 7 goals so far on this road trip. Absolutely amazing. To make it a 13-game point streak for him. Does Jake Gensel make Team USA? I mean, Mike Sullivan's going to be the coach. So, yeah, Jake Gensel's going to make Team USA this year. Might not play on a top line. He'll probably be a 3rd or 4th liner, but he's going to make that team. If they even go to the Olympics. We talked about that in the second intermission. If the NHL even participates in the Olympics, which they have about a month to decide whether or not they want to do that now. We're in the final 5 here. 5 minutes remaining in this game. It's all over but the crying for the Seattle Kraken, though. A 6-1 game. You're not scoring 5 goals in 5 minutes. If you do, it would be one of the greatest comebacks of all time. At least regular season. Definitely the best regular season comeback of Seattle Kraken history at that point. But they just don't look like they have much life left in them. They look, after you gave up those 2 goals late in the second period, just not a great outing for Seattle fans right now. Gensel's still out there looking for the hat trick, though. If he gets the hat trick, that'd be back-to-back games hat trick, 5th career hat trick if he's able to do it. We'll see what happens here. The best comeback was Boston Leafs 2013. I don't disagree. We did have a Leafs fan on here earlier, and if he was on here, you probably just made him leave. If he's still on here. Yeah. He said he's new to hockey, though. He's a new hockey fan, so he might have looked back and saw that, but Leafs fans, they will never live that down, will they? F the Leafs seeing Robert tear up made me smile so much. So, Isha, I'm guessing you loved watching PL Dubois just absolutely sumo slam Austin Matthews into the ice last night. I would imagine you were just smiling and grinning from ear to ear. I can see it very, very clearly. Writing down my 3 stars of the game. So stay tuned for a quick, brief post-game show after this one. Not going to be very long. I'm going to give my 3 stars of the game, my final thoughts, and the road ahead for both of these teams. Let's see. Who else is a star as I'm looking through this? Let me know what your 3 stars of the game are, and I'll probably cheat off of you a little bit. Isha says it was beautiful seeing Austin Matthews thrown into the ground like that. What is the nickname for Austin Matthews that's not AM34 and it's no longer Mustache Boy? Chris Letang looking to get out of the zone. Sends Jason Zucker. Here's an opportunity. A nice play by Zucker. Good speed there. trying to hunt the puck down, but as with most of the time, Jason Zucker just not able to corral the puck, not able to settle it down. Oh, goodness. So we have a show here on the Hockey Podcast Network called Habs Nightly. A couple of great hosts, Bayou Benders and also Mason Dixon. Mason Dixon calls him Captain Underpants. Head equally as big, but the way he says it on the podcast is hilarious. I'll have to tune into that. Captain Underpants for Austin Matthews. Rivalries. They're what make the NHL fun, isn't it? Speaking of rivalries, when we look at the road ahead, the Pittsburgh Penguins have the Washington Capitals on Friday. They're going to have to try to avenge that 6-1 drubbing they took at Cap 1 earlier in the season. But they're playing a lot better now, so I feel like that game's going to be closer. We'll discuss that in the post game. But right now, 2.5 minutes, a little under 2.5 minutes to go here in the third period. Penguins still leading at 6-1. We hit the 2-minute mark here. Don't even know why it was so funny. Yeah, no, Isha, I'm definitely going to have to tune into Habs Nightly and listen to him call Austin Matthews Captain Underpants here. Penguins, they like I mentioned, they take the foot off the throttle. One opportunity by Jake Gensel, he just didn't miss. But for the most part, this third period has just been the Penguins coasting and the Seattle Kraken not really having much fight left in them. Like there's still obviously some effort out there, but those 2 goals late in the second period just completely ended this game. Jeff Carter. Let's see. Trying to look now. Okay. I'm going to switch it. I have my 3 stars. So for after the game, we'll do our 3 stars of the game. We'll do final thoughts, final stats rundown, and the road ahead for both the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Seattle Kraken here with just under a minute to play here in the third period of this game. Thank you again to everybody for tuning in to the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel's live stream of the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Seattle Kraken. My name is Nick Berlansky. I host the Tip of the Iceberg podcast. Man, I have not been good on my promos today, but I host the Tip of the Iceberg podcast. We cover the Pittsburgh Penguins. I also host the Hockey Hotbed, covering every team in the NHL, and both of those podcasts, as well as this YouTube channel and this live stream, is brought to you by DraftKings. Make sure you use promo code THPN at the DraftKings Sportsbook app for great odds and opportunities. Once again, that's promo code THPN at the DraftKings Sportsbook app for great odds and opportunities. Andrew, couldn't get enough. Had to come back. Welcome back here for the last 20 seconds of this one. Hopefully you can tune in for the post-game show. We're going to go for about 5 or 10 more minutes once the game has ended, where it seems like it's going to be in 14 seconds, but an offside there is going to extend the misery for the fans in dark and light blue. That's one thing I didn't mention, and I wanted to mention today, is the fact that the Seattle Kraken have probably one of the best kits in the NHL right off the bat. Just grade A job by the marketing team, that's for sure. Let's see. Three seconds, 2 seconds, 1. Joey Daccord keeps the puck alive to put them out of their misery. That is a sigh of relief for Casey DeSmith as he gets his first win of the season. That has to feel good for him, not only to get his first win, but to only give up 1 goal on the road to the Seattle Kraken. Sidney Crosby messing around with Jake Gensel and the Pittsburgh Penguins. To quote the Hall of Famer, the great Mike Lang, Elvis has just left the building. The Pittsburgh Penguins get the victory That makes them 2-1-1 on this 5-game road trip. They're going to close it out on Friday against the Washington Capitals. I'm going to take one quick break, very, very quick break. Don't worry. And then I'll be back. And then we will wrap up this game. I'll give my 3 stars, and we'll look at the road ahead for both the Seattle Kraken and the Pittsburgh Penguins. We'll be right back. If I can hit that. Welcome back to the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel as we finish up our watch along of the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Seattle Kraken. This one, a 6-1 final up at Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. The Pittsburgh Penguins, they had a lot of momentum early, scored often, and albeit Seattle did have a little good stretch there in the second period, had possession of the puck, had a couple opportunities. They were never able to really get anything going against Casey DeSmith and the Pittsburgh Penguins defense. Let's go down through the scoring summary here in this game. In the first period, just a minute 47 in, Jeff Carter notches his 6th goal of the season. Assists go to Jason Zucker and Danton Heinen. Jeff Carter was just trying to get a centering pass in, and it bounced off of Philip Grubauer's stick up over his shoulder and into the net. The Penguins had an early 1-0 lead. About 3 minutes later, a shot from the point from Brian Dumoulin deflected through the pads of Philip Grubauer and sat right on the doorstep for the captain, Sidney Crosby, to be able to go out and score his 4th goal of the season. Again, assist to Brian Dumoulin and Jake Gensel, which makes it 13 straight games for Jake Gensel with a point. He extends his NHL leading point streak now. And that was just the beginning of the night for Jake Gensel. He got a lot more as the night kept going on. Danton Heinen scores his 3rd of the season just about 30 seconds later. His 7th of the season and the Penguins' 3rd of the game just about 30 seconds later. The assists go to Marcus Pettersson and John Marino, and that was it for Philip Grubauer, the starting goaltender for the Seattle Kraken. He's had a bad season already, and this just was the same exact thing tonight. He's pulled in favor of Joey Daccord, 3-0 the Penguins, and that is the lead they took into the first intermission. Joey Daccord played pretty well from the time he got in until about 2 minutes left in the second period. We'll get to that in a minute. In the second period, 3 minutes and 43 seconds in, Jordan Eberle, a Penguins killer, goes out and puts a goal behind Casey DeSmith. He opens the scoring for the Seattle Kraken. Assists go to Jaden Swartz and Alexander Wenberg, and the Kraken looked like they were going to be able to climb back into this one. They were starting to get momentum. They were getting opportunities, but they just could not finish on Casey DeSmith. A great opportunity for Teddy Bluger on a shorthanded opportunity, but Joey Daccord was able to make the save about halfway through the second period. And then late in the second period, the Daggers. 2 goals by the Pittsburgh Penguins. Jake Gensel, 14th of the season. Evan Rodriguez got a primary assist. Sidney Crosby got a secondary assist. And then just a couple seconds later, Jeff Carter gets his 7th of the season. Chris Letang and Danton Heinen on the assists. Lone goal in the third period, a beautiful shot by Jake Gensel, his 15th of the season. Assist to Evan Rodriguez and Brian Dumoulin. And that is it. 6-1. Pittsburgh Penguins defeat the Seattle Kraken to advance to 12-8-5 on the season. My 3 stars of tonight's game are coming up right after we go into the statistics, the final statistics for this game. Penguins lead or win in the shots on goal battle, 31-29. Penguins have 11 block shots to the Seattle Kraken 6. 1 penalty in the entire game. That one taken by Mike Matheson of the Pittsburgh Penguins, but the Penguins' top penalty kill able to kill it off in the second period. Hits 24-23 in favor of the Seattle Kraken. Faceoffs 32-24 in favor of the Pittsburgh Penguins. But that is your statistical breakdown of this game. Who were your favorite? Not your favorite. Who are your 3 stars of this game? Anybody that's still on this stream, who were your 3 stars of this game between the Seattle Kraken and the Pittsburgh Penguins? My 3rd star goes to Jeff Carter. 2 goals for big Jeff Carter, his 6th and 7th on the season. He started the scoring for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and he kept it going late into the second period. So Jeff Carter is the 3rd star of the game for me. 2nd star of the game, kind of a quiet game for him, but he put together 3 points. Danton Heinen scores 1 goal, adds 2 assists for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and helps them to their 12th win of the season. And the number 1 star, the best player on the ice, the beautiful shot, the beautiful goal, 2 goals, 1 assist, now a 13-game point streak for Sir Jake Gensel, who is my number 1 star of this game. Isha says solid star choices. He loves Danton, the Vancouver boy. Andrew says Carter, Gino, Crosby. Gino. I'm sure Gino's back in the locker room, similar as to what he was in Vancouver, eating the post-game meal already. If anybody saw that picture posted by, I believe it was Penn's Inside Scoop or Taylor Haas or somebody, of Gino in front of a large table of sushi in Vancouver in the locker room. He looked like he was having a good time. So Andrew says Carter, Gino, and Crosby. I like that. I like those choices as well. Let's quickly look at the road ahead for each of these 2 teams. Isha says Gino is such a beauty. He's a beauty that we might be seeing soon as he's practicing with his teammates now. And by soon, I mean probably in a couple weeks. But I don't know if you've seen that picture, Isha, but definitely take a look at it. It's just him smiling at the end of a long buffet of sushi. And it looks, I mean, I don't like sushi, but that, the plating was done very well in that picture. For the Seattle Kraken, following this loss, they now on Thursday stay at home to take on the Winnipeg Jets, a team that just beat the crap out of the Toronto Maple Leafs, both on the scoreboard and just in person, just absolutely obliterated them. And then the Kraken will also take on the Columbus Blue Jackets over the weekend on Saturday. So they get another Metro Division opponent in the Blue Jackets on Saturday. The Kraken, it's not an easy road for them, because they're low in the standings already. But after that, they take on the Sharks, who have been better this year. They take on the Ducks, who have been extremely talented and extremely good this year. And then they take on the Oilers and Maple Leafs before they finally get to play the Arizona Coyotes. So it's going to be a tough road ahead for the Seattle Kraken. We'll see how they're able to handle it. I mean, they're an expansion franchise. They're taking their lumps. It's what you expect from an expansion franchise, unless your name is the Vegas Golden Knights. Looking for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They close out this 5-game road trip with a game on Friday night at the Washington Capitals, looking for revenge from that 6-1 drubbing they took a couple of weeks back. And then the Penguins will be at home for a 3-game homestand against the Anaheim Ducks on Saturday, where they debut their Pittsburgh Diagonal Gin and Juice jerseys. Once again, they'll have that on Saturday night. And then they take on the Canadiens next Tuesday and the Sabres next Friday. But Isha, one last comment, says the Jets better get it together or Nick and I will look like fools at the end of the season. Yeah, they are my Stanley Cup dark horse. I'm gonna stick with it though. I'm not gonna jump off ship, and I know Isha won't either. Isha has one more question for me, and I will have an answer. Andrew jumps in and says Flyers are such a terrible team. Yep, they are. They're 9 straight losses. They're at 9 straight losses, and the Islanders are at 12 straight losses. Which of those teams wins first? I say it's the Islanders. Oh, okay. This is something that Isha knows about me that I don't think many other people on this stream right now know about me. I'm a huge UFC fan. So who do I think is going to win Saturday in the Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier fight? You know, I picked against Oliveira when he went up against Chandler. And he obviously shocked me, shocked the world. You have Oliveira going 4th round submission when Poirier tries to take it to the ground. I like that. I like that pick. I'm not going to steal that pick. I think it goes the distance, and I think Poirier wins by decision, by split decision specifically. I think that's what we're going to see. So that's how we're going to end this live stream. Pittsburgh Penguins versus me and Ish are going to have this discussion because we both have a lot to say on this upcoming fight on Saturday night. But that's going to do it for this live stream. Thank you to everybody that is tuned in. Make sure you subscribe to the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel, where we will have stuff like this, watch-alongs, every single night of the NHL season, if we can say anything about it. I mean, we're going to try to do that. And then nights like this where we have back-to-backs, you get more bang for your buck. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also, make sure you use promo code THBN when you sign up at DraftKings Sportsbook for great odds and opportunities. One more time, THBN at DraftKings Sportsbook. I've been Nick Berlansky. You've all been great in the comment section. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you guys next time.